What's up, everybody? Wolf from Walmart. We're back. We're back, baby, again.
Not a bad fish right there, guys.
Oh, no.
PETA. Out here catching Folsom bass right now, dude. Woo, he's a little chunker. What up, everybody? 'Tis I, Dave Erkey, the host of the Whole Angler Podcast. We are back again. For me, this is really it's not. I record on Mondays, and today we're recording on a Friday, so I'm like, it's like a Friday special for me. I'm super excited. Also, the guest we have on today, I'm super excited to get to know. I've heard from him many a times throughout multiple podcasts, and I've followed his channel for a while on YouTube, and it's just he puts fishing in a light that I appreciate because it's exactly how I started. It's exactly what I got into. And when I take my son out, and it's exactly what we're doing. It ain't about, head hunting on these fish or trying to just outfish your buddy. It is going out there and enjoying yourself. And that's what it's about. So I'm really excited to bring on this guest. But first, I'm going to throw you this ad. What up, dudes and dudettes? I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice by now, but you're going to hear it for a little bit longer because this is a shout out to the sponsor of this show, Kayak City. Kayak City has been taking care of me ever since I started getting into a boat and paddling around in the water trying to catch some fish. And when I tell you it is Kayak City, it is literally like a city of kayaks. They have Bonafide, Eddy Line, Feel Free, Hobie, Jackson, Native, New Canoe, Old Town, Wilderness Systems, and so many used kayaks. I stopped trying to count them a long time ago. If you guys are looking for accessories, they have walls and walls and walls of accessories. They have one wall dedicated specifically to Yak Attack, and it is a massive wall. Kayak City is your #1 Yak Attack dealer here in Northern California. If you want to know where it is, stop by at 7812 Auburn Boulevard, Citrus Heights, CA. Roll through, say what up to James, Troy, Eric, Scott. Tell them Dave says what's up and tell them I sent you there. Thanks for listening. And for the man who showed me that fishing is fun all the time, for the guy, if you really want to check out a channel that just stokes you on going out and just catching fish, period, and having a good time and a good day, this is your man right here. Without further ado, I bring to you Sir John Dalton.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the intro.
No problem.
Yeah.
I just I shoot from the hip a lot. So
There you go.
Well, dude, it's nice to have you on here. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you. And it was like semi last minute. I hit you up and you were like, yeah, I'm free. I'm like, oh crap. Like, give me 20 minutes. And you're, oh no, I didn't mean today. I'm like, oh, all right. Like, yeah, it was really
you were just talking about in the intro, like, well, I do, several podcasts, and everybody usually has a day they do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting you to be like, okay, I record on this day. You were like, okay, I'm ready right now. Well, I was like, why didn't you mean right now?
It was one of those things where my mother-in-law was in town, and because both my parents and my wife's parents, they are very far away. So my parents live in like LA, which is, I mean, it's still California, but it's 6 to 8 hour drive depending on the traffic. And then my mother-in-law, my wife's mom, she lives in Tennessee. So she lives over there in East Tennessee. So
that's where I'm at. I'm in East Tennessee.
Yeah, she's in Crossville. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So she was in town, and so I was like, hey, let me just hit some people up, see if anybody's down for anything, and like try and see, because we don't really get the help with the toddler because we have a toddler. And so it was like the perfect storm. And then of course she like flies home 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty good. Yeah. In fact, she's like, she loves your stuff, by the way, not just me, but yes, it's not just me that watches your channel and my family, and she's like, did you see what John Dalton did? She actually, I'm going to bust you out. Her name is Elle Fox. Elle, I'm going to bust you out right now. She literally asked me to ask you when you're going to get married. It's very important to her.
I'll work on that.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm sure he's heard it plenty. So yeah, but anywho, dude, John, tell me about you, dude. Where were you born? When and where were you born?
I was born in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's only about 4 hours from here. I've lived in Kentucky and Tennessee all my life. First 10 years in Kentucky, then last 29 here in part of Middle Tennessee. Then I've been over here in East Tennessee for 10 years now.
Oh, okay, nice, dude. So you've kind of made you were born there, and did you grow up in Kentucky, or just grew up in Central Tennessee for the most part?
I was 10 when we left Kentucky. Kentucky's where I started my roots in creek fishing, and that's where it all began. And
Nice.
I can remember, I was probably 6 or 7. We lived at a house, and there was a creek in the backyard for like 3.5 years. I lived at a house with this little bitty tiny creek in the backyard, and I remember so many memories from there. That never knowing it's gonna, 30 years later, I ended up, 25, 30 years later, I ended up starting a YouTube channel, and now that's all I do. I live off YouTube now, which is crazy.
Dude, honestly, that's really awesome, because you're out there doing what you love. Okay, before we get back to your childhood, what's the editing process like for you? Is it a nightmare, or do you kind of have is it kind of more fluid for you now?
It's not my favorite thing to do, but I kind of got a system down. So when I first started, I never edited a video. I can't even type still, but I never learned typing. I didn't like social media stuff. Like, it took me forever just to get a Facebook account. So I'm the opposite guy that I don't even like putting myself on. I'm not the guy posting videos and pictures, and didn't care about any of that. Never really, not good on electronics. And then I just picked it was Filmora Wondershare. That's what I use. I picked it. I was like, I don't know, let's try this. Tried it, and that's the one I've stayed with. And I don't really want to try to learn anything else. But yeah. So if I go out kayaking all day, like an 8-hour day, it can take 3 to 5 hours to get that video from camera to YouTube. But that's why I like little wading trips or little, bank fishing trips. Those are so much easier half the time. So it allows me to get more videos out in the summertime, because some days I can just go out and be like, I know there's a creek over here. I know it can catch fish. Let me just go fish it for a couple hours, maybe take a rooster tail or something like that. And that's, I have a solid video. Whereas if I go out a tournament or, on a lake or a big river, it's, I may not catch anything all day, or it could be just, a few fish. So it's, I have real short videos, and most of the time, the simplest videos are the ones I put the least amount of effort into. Those do the best.
Of course,
and
right?
I'll do a video where I spent like 3 days working on this big trip, and then it gets no views.
So yeah, of course,
over.
Yeah. Okay, so growing up in Kentucky, you had a creek in the back. What was it like growing up? What was it like being a kid? I have visited Kentucky. In fact, one of my retirement plans is Louisville, Kentucky, but it's a whole, way down the line. I'm not there yet. What was it like being a kid growing up in Kentucky? Because I have only grown up in California. So
okay, well, I've never been to California, but it's on my list. I want to go explore and go fishing out there. I want to fish everywhere. Part of what I want to do. But basketball, fishing, and church. That's what that's everybody from Kentucky, and we lived out in the country, no neighbors for most of my life, stuff like that. When we moved to the house that had the creek, when I was 6, I think, from 6 to 10 or 6 to 9. My dad was a pastor of a church, and we lived in the house right beside it. So there was like a house they owned. Mm-hmm. So my dad would be over in the office. I'd run over there every once. I remember when we first moved there, I'd go catch stuff out of the creek, and I'd bring it to him. I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Get that out of here! What are you doing?" I remember I caught this baby little turtle, and I guess it was so tiny. I didn't know what it was. I'm like, "What is this? A turtle?" And I took it to him. And he's like, "Yeah, that's a turtle. Take it out." So
set it on his desk.
Yeah. So and there was a basketball goal out on the church parking lot. So I'm like playing basketball, going to church, going to the creek. I was homeschooled till while we were at that area. So I was in first, second grade, I guess, whatever. So, I may have got out a little early some days, or, I would try to do my work, or, homeschool. I just wanting to get outside and go explore, especially. And then all summer, I'm just down there. I had 3 sisters. I got 2 younger brothers now, but they weren't they're 10 years younger than me. So my sisters never really. We'd go swimming or go swim down there. There was like a deep hole, like maybe 2 feet. You could lay down and get wet, but it wasn't. It wasn't like a big area. And I remember going out on a boat like one time. This guy from church, he's like, "I'll take you out fishing." He's like, "I got a guaranteed spot." We didn't catch a single fish. I was like, "This is the dumbest." I'm gonna go back to the creek and catch my little tiny fish. So, like, I've always had that passion for just the exploration, and that's what I do. My channel should be called just exploration. I just like going places. Like I have places where they catch giant bass that are 30 minutes away. I don't care. I don't care to do that. Like I'll catch one every once in a while, but I would rather go wade a little stream that I know the biggest fish in there is this big, but I'll catch 25 fish in an hour and a half. So that small stream, just catching them. And I even remember when I was little, you'd watch. I'm 39 now, so I mean, there would be. It was probably Bill Dance or something. Like I don't even remember, but I remember watching these shows on TV back then. They had those fishing shows on Saturdays and stuff. And I'm always like, that looks boring. I would listen to it, and I would kind of, because I liked fishing, but it just nothing ever about it like ever appealed to me. And but I remember I would go and catch little fish, and I would sit there and watch, and I would like, this fish is different than this fish, even though they look a little bit similar. I have no idea what they're called, and there's no way to find out.
Yep.
There's no way I'll never know what these are. And
it's not like you can take a photo with your phone and it'll tell you everything. Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, I realized what that fish was now. It's like in my brain, and I would catch, little darters and stuff. I would catch those with a cup. I had a friend that would come over, and we'd have challenges. Who could sit patiently and try to catch a darter with a cup? And it'd be taking like 10, 15, 20 minutes. You're just like sitting there. And but that kind of stuff just always was in the back of my mind. Even when we moved away and I didn't really fish as much, got into basketball and trucks, and I just barely fished growing up. But yeah, so going to Kentucky was being homeschooled, not really going many places. It's out in the country, a little country church. I'm by myself a lot, just exploring, walking around the woods, getting, punching my sisters and getting mad, making fights, stuff like that. So, but yeah.
No, are your sisters older or younger?
I got 2 older and 1 younger.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So. Oh yeah. So you're punching everybody. Everybody catching these.
Oh yeah. Everybody's getting
it. That's awesome. And were they into fishing too, or did they just come down to the creek, swim, and just be kids?
Yeah. No, they played sports, but I'd get them to play. We'd play basketball sometimes or volleyball, but nobody in my family fishes. My dad would take us. I remember he'd take us to the lake in the summer, maybe every once in a while, and me and him and fish. He'd fish a little bit. I'd be out there fishing the whole time. Everybody else is doing whatever else. But yeah, my uncle that he lived around at some points. He fished. He took me a couple times. We'd go to like a pond or just something like that. So I never boat fished, until last few years really, or really thought about doing anything else other than just you bank fish with a worm, or you just go to a lake, cast off the bank. But the creek stuff always stuck with me. Just the diversity of everything that's in that one little pool, in just a little bit of water and stuff like that.
Yep. It's a giant lake just trapped down and narrowed down in moving water. So side note, if you decide to come to California, hit me up. There is a creek that is, I don't know, I think I can hit a golf ball over it from my house, but it's right by my house, and it goes for about 8 miles, about 16 miles altogether. Basically about 8-mile stretch that you can fish, and it's loaded to the brim with spotted bass and small panfish, and it's stacked. Like me and my buddy will go out there with little 3-inch wacky worms, and we'll have like 20 to 50 fish days. It's fun. Yeah, little ultralight rods. Dude, it's so fun. So let me know if you come out this way and you just want to take a walk for a day, dude. We'll just walk up and down that all day. I mean, it doesn't get more than knee deep. So
Oh wow, yeah, that's right my style. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Let me know. Yeah, I've looked at it trying to figure a way to put my kayak in it, and there's just no logistic way. I'd float for like 10 feet and then I'd have to drag
Yeah.
it the rest of the way. So I'm like, yeah, it's super fun. Anywho, so you moved up to Tennessee. Did you stay homeschooled or did you get into school? How'd that work?
Yeah, so when we moved, I moved over to Knoxville area for which is not far from me now. I think we lived there for a few 3 years, and then we moved to Middle Tennessee, and my dad started a church there. So we moved several times because my dad working in the ministry. A lot of times you work 2 or 3 years and may go somewhere different. And so we kind of moved around a little bit until we got to Middle Tennessee, and then I stayed there. We were there for 13, 14 years. So I went to Christian schools, private schools, pretty small ones where it'd be 20, 30 people in the class. So I've always kind of done that. Got it big into sports, playing mainly basketball, but whatever I could do, any kind of sports or anything.
So how tall are you?
6'4".
Oh, you're a guard?
I was
forward?
at small school, so they put you down low. Even though I got the best guard skills of the team,
yeah.
I still have regret. So
yeah.
I'm a shooter. I could definitely I could shoot. My senior year, all I did was shoot threes because I would be double teamed every game. Because you're a small school. There's one good player on the team, so everybody you play knows who you are. I'm like, so they know what to do. And so my senior year I shot a lot of threes. And we did pretty good. But I was every game double teamed pretty much or so like that. So
you're a shooting guard. They put you at forward or center or something like that because man,
just because I'm tall and stuff.
Yeah,
I played guard growing up a lot. Until I kind of grew a little more. But
yep, and then you're stuck. You're pigeonholed at that point. Did you do any other sports besides basketball or just?
I played on the soccer team. I was goalie a couple years. I hate soccer. I hate running. I'm not fast. I'm super slow. I have quick hands, really good hands, and that's what for basketball is. It's big. So I like very long arms, quick hands, good first step, but overall running. My dad ran track at Liberty University, Liberty College. And he's super athletic, and he's like, yeah, I can dunk easy two-handed. I can dunk and stuff, but I wasn't super athletic, and pretty slow runner. But he was terrible with the touch and stuff, where I was really good with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So he was foot-eye coordinated, your hand-eye coordinated.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, my wife runs. Those are a different type of. They're a different breed altogether. They're totally different breed. I run my mouth that's hence the microphone. She runs marathons. That's what she's doing next weekend. So she does that for fun. It's not fun for me at all.
My sister will drag me into a 5K, and I walk half of that.
She tries to give me. She's like, you can just walk. I'm like, or I could just stand here. And I'm totally okay with that. It's always more interesting conversations at the beer garden than out on the track, anyways. I'm guessing. So it's just, I mean, I don't drink, but those people are always super interesting to me. So I'm always talking. It works out great. So, so basketball a little bit and soccer a little bit. Were you talking about fishing and stuff at school? I have found that a lot of people that are anglers, as kids, some of there's a very small sliver of people that were really proud of it, and everybody else is kind of under the radar about it. So were you outspoken about it, or was it just?
I think everybody knew that I was just. I think everybody knew I was just that country kid that could fish and stuff. I remember we went to in high school. I think 10th or 9th, 10th grade. We went to a pond one day for something, and I was catching fish, and everybody else was like, "Hey, how are you catching fish?" I'm like, I didn't know that much about it, but I mean, it was easy, simple things. And I remember helping several other people out, just how to use a rod and reel and catch something. So I didn't fish a ton, but it was, something I knew how to do. And, it wasn't like nowadays where kids are, bass fishing hardcore. I didn't know anybody that did stuff like that, or, it was usually a pond fishing or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, people probably knew I fished a little bit, but it wasn't it was my main thing. If anybody, if people thought I was going to go famous for anything, it'd been basketball.
Oh yeah.
That was my love. what I really put effort into, and even that's kind of even in the 20s, all through my 20s, I like played basketball like every week, like full court. So it takes up a lot of time. If I'm going once and twice a week, meeting up with guys and playing for a couple hours.
Yeah. Do you do pickup games? Do you still do like pickup games and stuff?
I played a game the other day, but a little bit. I don't play as much here. I don't have the group of guys I kind of played with. So as I've gotten older, that's kind of dwindled down. I can still play a full court game for a little while, but we had our church. We're trying to get back together, like just getting some guys together to run. I just staying active and stuff is. I kind of stopped for a long time, and my back starts getting sore and stiff. Like, man, I got to keep running and keep moving. That's especially when you kayak for I'm out 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours sitting in a kayak, and you're like, oh man, why am I so sore?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. Wake up in the morning trying to tie your shoes, like, ouch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. I get it. So at school, fishing it was average. See, where I'm from, it was not average. If you were fishing, it was like you walk out to the end of this pier on the ocean and you drop a sardine down and whatever you hook, you eat, or the guy right there will clean it for you and you just eat it. It's Southern California was different. I live in Northern California now, no ocean around me. But growing up, I grew up next to the ocean. That was like really the only type of fishing, So that's why I'm always curious, like when you grow up fishing, because I didn't grow up fishing. So when people grow up fishing, I'm like, what's that like? Like, I'm just curious. So out of high school, you say you're in your 20s, you're playing a little basketball here and there. Like you got into trucks, like lowered trucks or lifted trucks? Because
tinkering around old Chevys, 80s, 90s models. I got into like buying and selling. And I'd buy them. I'd buy them off. We had a newspaper and something else where they'd be listed. And Craigslist kind of came out around that time. And I'd pick a truck up for $800, drive it home, tinker with it, sell it for $1,200.
Oh yeah,
you could buy trucks all day for under $1,000, just running and driving vehicles. It's crazy, but I love doing that. I love tinkering. And I got it after high school. I went and got into. I took a year of HVAC and got a degree in air conditioning, and I did HVAC work. Got right into that. Liked it. It was pretty good. Fixing air conditioners and stuff.
HVAC, dude. The mechanical side of HVAC is awesome. Like, I did it for about 4 years. Like, I do general contracting now, and I'm also a handyman. But I did HVAC for like 4 years. I did 2 years residential and 2 years commercial, and it's super fun. I mean, it's not fun when you're like the newer guy and you're just running duct and digging insulation and just like, oh yeah. And California has a code where you have to like basically seal the inner liner with the mastic, like the mastic pookie. They call it pookie, but the mastic, and you slide it on, and then you zip, and then you can it, and then you tape. It's like for the inner liner, like all that. All right, whatever. Anyways, so it gets, you're tucked in some small spaces, getting covered in a bunch. You're basically tarred and feathered by the time you get out. With all the mastic and insulation, it's
itching like crazy, just every day.
Burning, But once you get into like leading or get a year or so under your belt, and you start to understand like the electronics and the mechanics of it, it's really cool. Like disassembling a furnace or disassembling the coil and like cleaning it all out. Like, oh, dude, it's kind of cool, man. I dig it. So are you still?
I definitely miss fixing stuff. Like I love especially after I did it for years. I did it in a total of 13 years. But like I would just be praying. I would like give me something hard to do. Like I just need something because you go through a lull where there's like everything's like easy. Capacitor. Like give me something that my brain to actually like work. I love the hard stuff. Like give me something to figure out that 3 people have been there and they can't figure it out. I'm like, oh yeah, let's see what we can do. So I was pretty good at solving problems, like problem solving, and just being patient and being able to kind of go step by step through stuff. And I do miss doing that. That was fun. And, other than, have to go out at midnight, sometimes, but fixing stuff for people is satisfying. It's like, they're like, oh, thank you so much. You're like, yeah, I feel good.
You don't want to be swapping out a motherboard at midnight. That's for sure. I totally get it, man. You're like, please be a capacitor.
That's the one you want to be easy. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, honestly, yeah. So you really got into mechanics, like vehicles and HVAC. Was there, like you said, you're a tinkerer. Is there something that you're working on now, like project wise, or is there something that you've kind of kept it going? Or
Well, that's the thing that's different. Now I have 4 vehicles right now. So I got an 89 Chevy that's sitting at my old house. I just moved.
Okay.
It's sitting over there. I tried to start it up. The battery's dead. So I got to get it over here. It runs okay. It needs a lot of stuff. I got an old Suburban that I'm saving. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep it for the motor or not. I got a 04 Suburban that I drive, and then I got a 2019 Dodge or a Ram pickup. That's so I've 3 or 4 vehicles is normal for me, just having stuff like that. But I really had to stop tinkering. Tinkering takes so much time, and I just don't have the time. I don't have the time for it. Trying to edit videos and trying to fish, this takes up all my time basically. Like it just other than like church, and I make time for family, and I got a lot of family around, so I'll go do stuff. I mean, maybe a whole day just come on, I'll just go hang out or help out with something. But other than that, I am consumed with like editing. Now I got to go fish tomorrow. I need to stay until I catch fish. I got to come back and I gotta edit that. I need to post this. Need to answer comments or questions or change this or move files around or do stuff. So it's really I love tinkering, but I have to make myself stop doing it because it gets into because you go out and spend 3 hours tinkering on I'm going to change these wheels and tires out on this truck or this, that. And then next thing you know, let me paint this while I'm down here. Let me do this. Then you're like, oh man, now I got to go back to doing something else. So I miss getting off work and going straight to like my hobbies. But now though, what I do is my hobby. So it's a give and take, but yeah, it is different. So I really stopped kind of got rid of all my tools and just, I had a whole garage full of just truck parts, hubcaps, different. Oh, these are from this style. This is from this style. These are lug nuts for this. This is a carburetor for this. This is, and I just kind of had to get rid of all that last few years as I've really been full time at YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, how do I say this? It's awesome that you have that second passion, like something that you can do. It's a bummer that you can't do it right now, but like, have you ever thought about being like creek fishing adventures? Well, first we got to get to the creek. So this is going to be an engine block adventure and just like start to disassemble the engine block. I think it'd be cool. But, so growing up Tennessee, your dad wasn't like kind of encouraging you to get into like the pastoral side of things, like getting you into the church, or were you pretty plugged in as it was? Were you doing like youth groups and stuff? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was involved with especially starting a church. We started it when I was 13, so I'm involved in everything, helping out with all the things going on pretty much. But I actually, so when I was 15, about 14, 15, I was kind of thought, you know what, I think I am going to be a preacher or a pastor. I was like ready to go down that road and go to a college for that. And then at about 16, 17, 18, as I was, going through high school, trying to decide, I just felt the Lord, I don't think he wants me to do that. And, just my mind changed and what I was wanting to do, I just didn't have that desire. And even basketball, I love basketball, but I just didn't want to go to college. Like I hate studying, reading. I can't read. I can read, but I hate reading. I don't read anything now. Like I can consume YouTube and I can listen and pay attention and grab, but sitting down and reading something, my dad reads a book a week, like a whole book. I'm like, what is wrong with you? My other sisters like that too. They can just read stuff. And if I sit down and read stuff, it takes me so long. And I did really good in high school as long as I listened, but I barely did the homework, never did the reading. I'm like, if I listen and pay attention, I'll pass. We'll be fine. So even sports, I would have loved to have played basketball, and looking back, man, I could have gotten more athletic, but I just didn't want to get in debt. I didn't want to take classes. So the HVAC route was the best thing. That was right. I never heard about that until my senior year. Then that was right up exactly what I like doing. Hands-on, figuring things out. Also a lot of dealing with customers, which realizing now that helps me now. I used to, have to talk to people all the time and explain problems, learning how to be calm and just give things, dealing with different people different ways. But talking a lot to people now, I mean, that really comes back to my YouTube where I was like, wow, that really helps me now doing that. But I got sidetracked where I was going now.
Oh, I was
But
just asking you about like if your dad was kind of pushing you one way, and you explained it perfectly. Like you're like,
yeah, they didn't. Yeah,
yeah,
they just wanted to see me do what I thought was the right thing to do.
yeah, dude.
They was never. I don't think they ever really pushed me or any
Yeah.
of us really, anybody, any of the kids. It's hey, you'll figure it out, and we'll help you. Or if you need something or whatever. But no, it was pretty good.
So starting a church is really interesting to me. Like my father does lighting and sound for the church, as he was a bus driver
Oh,
when he was in his 20s. I don't know, all the way up to like the church that my family is a part of in Long Beach has been around a very long time. And he started like the lighting sound systems. He
yeah,
does all the everything. He sets up all the cues for even like the little preschool plays that they have there, because it's
yeah,
also a school. He'll go there in on the weekends and he'll set it all up and he'll dial it all in. He gets all that stuff done, and he's always been doing that every Sunday. Well, every day of the week, damn near. He's down there either at night or getting ready for church, and he
yeah.
does both services. My mom used to sing in the choir. She doesn't like to sing anymore. She just attends the services now and just relaxes. But they've always been very plugged into church. So I don't know what's starting. I mean, I know what the inner workings of a church is because I was there helping, because
Yeah.
I was a trouble child. So my dad would make me go with him wherever he went when I was in trouble. But what is it? What does it involve to like start a church? Like, what was that like for you at, like you said, like 13? Like, what's that?
The good thing about like I guess it's good now, but like I'm so used to change. Like we went to several different schools, kind of moving around, and I could just like I've been here 10 years, and I'm like ready to move. I'm like I need to move something. I love just new. I mean, most people love like being comfortable. I love new things, any kind of new challenge. I'll move somewhere out of the blue. Just something. I love stuff like that. So starting a church, everything's new, and it's like okay, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Whatever I need to do, I got to do. But there was a group of, I'd say there was like 4 or 5 families that kind of came together with this decision. So it was like a group of people. It wasn't like, hey, we're starting a church here, don't know anybody here. So it was a group of people in this town, all came together, met at some houses, and then for a few, like probably months, and then they kind of, got enough money to kind of we rented some kind of building. I don't remember what, some kind of just room. They just rented
Mhm.
a room,
Mhm.
and that grows a little bit more. We got another bigger room, and then was able to rent like an older church building that was just there was nobody in.
Mm.
So that's kind of how I think now the church it's almost coming up on their like 25th anniversary. I think
Oh
my dad's
wow.
going to go back for that, but the guy pastor now is a guy I know, but like they're in another church building now. But that's kind of how it grows. Just little steps here and there. Congregation meet, put out the word. You're telling other people. Putting out stuff on social media, inviting people, and sometimes people are like, "Well, I want to come check this out." I want to check it out, and then kind of grows little by little. I think the most when I was there, I think it had like maybe about 100 people. So nothing like real big, but enough people. Where's a decent sized little church.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. So, and you were just running around doing everything. You were like, all right, I want to clean these chairs and do this, that, and the other. Or
Yeah.
were you just
We
kind
need to
of,
stack those chairs over there. We need to move this over here. And then as I got older, I was when I got like 18, 17, 18, 19, I was working with kids. And
Mhm.
then what's funny story is like I was like the super shy, quiet guy, like never spoke out, just quiet. I'm like I never need to say anything. Like there's no like at school the same way.
Hmm.
Even on like basketball, I'm just quiet. I'm just gonna do what I need to do. And I'm not like yelling at people, hoorah.
Mhm.
When I was 18, I started working with like we had a bus route, picking up some kids and some classes. And I was like, well, I wasn't sure about it. I was like, let me see if I can help out in that. And man, I just took off. I loved it, and I do that at my church now. I'm over the children's church service every Sunday, and that's what I love. It's probably the thing I'm the best at. Like of all anything I can do, I'm probably the best at working with kids, and
Yeah.
in that kind of setting, keeping them entertained. I don't do the lesson every Sunday, but teaching songs, leading in games, just communicating, just keeping their attention, whether it's 20 or 100. I'm just like I love this. This is I'm so comfortable in that situation where, I people like when I first started doing it, people would see me and you're like, you're not even the same person when you do that. It's just a switch that comes on and I just connect really well with the kids. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be like that forever. I'm getting older, but like especially in my 20s and stuff like that, I could just grab a whole group of kids and just keep them focused, keep them doing what they need to do, make them have a good time. And that's something I feel like the God's kind of as a gift he gave me to do. And I'm like, all right, this is like my thing at church.
Yeah.
How I'm going to be able to help out and be a part of. So that's kind of, I still do that today. So that's kind of funny how that all works out.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. And now you got little minions you can have. Hey, go pick up those chairs and stack them over there.
I'll boss people around.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, but that's cool. Like you've got that gift where you can just turn it on, especially if it's what you're saying is like the opposite of your personality for the most part, or at least it was growing up, which is super cool. So being the quiet kid, like you were just that silent killer on the court and just chilling in class and just that's awesome. I was always the loudmouth little white kid. So like, I always looked at you guys and hella respected you. I'd be like, oh, that's tight.
But I guess being tall, I got the, you feel like one of the tallest kids in school too. Everybody like, oh, this guy, they just look at you differently. So that helped out.
Hell yeah. You just, excuse me. The weather's colder up here. I need to get to class. That's awesome. So you're doing the youth group and all that stuff now. And you were in your youth when you guys moved churches, all that kind of stuff. So your dad's kind of been moving around with being led, like whether it's to one church or the next. Are you just immediately making new friend groups as you go? Because like you said, you can kind of just go anywhere, or are you just kind of sticking to yourself? Is that what that strong silent type kind of helped you with? Like, how does that work?
I'm a good loner. But I can be friends with anybody. Like you can believe the total opposite of everything I believe, and I do not care. It's like, yeah, what's up? I'll go hang out with you. Like nothing like that. Or I can meet someone for the first time and do something with them. Or making close friends has always been taking me a long time. I don't have like quick close friends, like getting to know people. But I always got to know people good through doing sports or doing things like that. You know how that you connect with people and you get to know people. That's always been the way I just still do things. That's probably why I'm still single. It's hard for me to just kind of really get to know people without just doing things, being around people. But so for me, I was always just like, I can be alone or I can be around people. It really doesn't faze me that much.
Yeah. Okay. Like, yeah, I was just curious because I know a few people who like kids that grew up with military dads or whatever, and they're moving from base to base to base, and they were more on. They didn't have the gift that you have to be able to just be like, okay, I'm fine with this. Like they were always more reserved because they didn't want to build relationships because they knew they were just going to move again eventually. Like there's that whole emotional like connection thing that kids need to have, and a lot of kids don't have according to whatever their lifestyle is. So I was just curious how that affected you, if it affected you at all. And it doesn't sound like it affected you one bit. You were probably happy as hell. Just all right, cool, we'll just go. Like like now you said you've lived here 10 years, you want to move already.
I think it was a little harder for my sisters for sure, but for me it's just like, yeah, I don't care, whatever, I come and go anywhere. But my dad's like that. He's super like just can be by himself and forever. Even though he's like a pastor, he can be totally fine, not talking to anybody all day or something like that. So I could probably get a lot of that from him. But yeah, I just gotta go I'm good at going with the flow. Yeah, like whatever's going on.
That's cool. Hell yeah, man. So out of you're doing HVAC, you're just kind of getting by because you found HVAC. How did you find HVAC? Was it like a job fair, or did somebody walk up and be like, hey, I need somebody to run this duct for me, and you look like you could fit?
I was thinking about this the other day. I think my mom was the first one that suggested it. It was there was a technical school down the road from where we lived. You kind of passed it like going into town, and I don't even remember. I mean, I never remembered it being there until I think my mom was like, "Hey, they got an HVAC class there." I don't even know how she found out, but I think I maybe looked it up for mechanic because I thought maybe I would do mechanicing or like mechanic.
Yeah.
And when I heard like the description of the HVAC and like what you can do if you do service part of it,
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds kind of fun. And it sounds like I would be able to pick that up real easy. And it was something that fit my skill set and stuff really, really well. So yeah, it was kind of like I think she'd said something about it. I went down, checked it out, found out how much it was. I was like, well, I can pay for this, and I'll just pay for it as I work. I was just working at Chick-fil-A. So I was like, I should be able to pay for it as I go. And then halfway through, they started the lottery thing here in Tennessee. And then like I paid for like half the school, and then halfway through the lottery like paid for the rest. So I was able to like finish out my whole degree without without having to pay too much on it.
Okay.
That was really.
Wait a second. So explain this lottery. Did you like win the Tennessee lottery, or was it
No,
like
our Tennessee lottery system pays for schools. Like it gives I don't know if it's grants or whatever. It just pays for kids going to Tennessee schools. So you get like a certain amount. You can apply. You just apply for it, and this is now like a lot of kids do it. But that's when it first started. You just apply for the money. I guess it's like any kind of government assistant thing. You just apply for it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're accepted. Yeah, here you go. We'll give you this much money a month to your school." So it was pretty cheap. Like the whole thing was going to be like $5,000 anyways.
That's
like a really cheap
awesome.
school, and
That's really
I ended up paying like $1,500, and the rest got paid for. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that."
Hang on, babe. We're moving in with your mother, dude. I got a 2-year-old and I got a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
He's gonna be 10 tomorrow, and I mean,
yeah. Tennessee, I'm pretty sure like they pay a lot for like if you stay in a local school. So yeah,
I might have to steal him. He's my son's from a previous marriage, but I might have to steal him and take him to Tennessee with me. Just be like, we're moving, because I mean I have him in private school now. I have him in a really good Christian school. Like he's thriving really well. In fact, like the way they do their education is awesome. Because I have issues with regular education these days, especially where I'm from. But it's so expensive. Yeah. I'm like, holy cow. So if I can get him into something, it'd be awesome. Anyways, sorry.
Well,
side
they're
note.
also changing that in Tennessee. I don't know if it's the nation, but they're just doing a thing here recently about giving the money to the parents and letting them, because we have a Christian school at my church, and so that's something new that's going on right now, where they're going to let the parents decide where that money goes. If they don't go to a public school, they can take that money and pay it towards a Christian school. So hopefully that's something that every state. I don't know about out in California if they'll change stuff like that, but yeah, here in Tennessee, we're all about stuff like that.
I love it, dude. You know what? It's funny because I've traveled the U.S. on multiple occasions, and I visited a lot of states, and I've met a lot of people, and basically almost everywhere outside of California, people are awesome. Like people are just so rad. I'm like, this place is great. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily move to like New Mexico, although there's some cool people there for sure, but it's just not my speed. Like Tennessee, Kentucky, like all in the Carolinas, like that whole area right there. Like I don't know if they're all connected. I can't remember specifically if they're all connected, but that whole area right there is like my heart. Like I love it. Like I've been saying that since I think I was 20 something. I'm moving there when I retire. Like I don't care where I land. I'm going that direction somewhere, because it's just salt of the earth, people. I love it. So I don't know how we got off on this. I'm so sorry. I kind of just hear something and I'm like, oh my gosh. So 20s HVAC, all this kind of stuff. You found HVAC, your mom found the school. Wherein did you decide that, mechanicking is fun and tinkering's fun and the HVAC is cool, but fishing is really like kind of moving you? Was it like just something that was always there, or like you said, you'd taken a break and done basketball and trucks for a while? So was it just you walked down to the creek one day and you're in love again, or how does that work?
Now it's a move. It's amazing how moving, and it's something I've looked back how it can really change things. So, I'm at my dad's church, and I just feel like I was 25 or 26, 27. I think I was 27 when I was like, all right, I need to do something on my own. It's time for me to kind of step away and just do something different. So I moved from there to East Tennessee, which I had a sister that lived in the area. So I had some family. So I actually moved in with one sister for like 3 months. I lived with another sister for 6 months, just kind of hopping around. And then till I was able to, find out either apartment. I ended up getting an apartment for a while and then bought a house. But so moving changed everything. Moving across, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just need a change up. I think I was 27 when I moved here. And I was like, I moving in with someone. You're like, you can't take nothing. So, and then I moved into an apartment, and there's like, you can have one vehicle. I'm like, where am I going to get all my vehicles?
I was curious about how'd you get all them trucks down there?
So that's where I kind of just had to leave a lot of that, sell things, get rid of things. I moved down here with one truck, and
which one?
I needed a hobby. Do it.
Which one did you pick?
The '89 Silverado.
There you go, buddy.
I've had that truck for like almost 20 years now. One of these days, I'm going to rebuild it. When I get real famous on YouTube, I'm going to send it somewhere and just have them like, I want it fully restored, back to like new, but I'm not there yet.
All right, yeah. So you took the Silverado. You moved to East Tennessee. Good choice, but continue.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, I didn't know anybody to play basketball with because I was used to doing that. Didn't have anything to work on. So after work, I'm like, I got to find something to do. And that's where it started. That's where I'm like, well, I'm just go. When I lived in an apartment, and there was a creek across basically just on the other side of the road. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go there and fish. I went back kind of, I had a little bit of fishing gear, but I didn't have a ton. And I think I just probably I'd go over there with some worms, kind of sit on the bank and just start fishing, just kind of chilling, killing time. And I would start catching fish. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how fun this was. And this little creek was loaded with little fish. And I started catching new species that I wasn't used to. I was like, oh, what are these? And I'm catching new things. And then there was like there's a bunch of creeks in my area, a bunch of rivers too. And some of the guys at work, when I moved here, I did HVAC again. They were big into like going to some of these rivers and streams. And they would, and I was like, oh, I want to go. So they take me to a couple places. I'm like, oh my goodness, this stuff is out here. So the more I would look into it, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. I would just do more and more and more. I'm like ready to try to do all kinds of things. And then but I always had a passion for what's like in that water that you drive over every day. That little bitty ditch that looks like nothing. I want to know what's in that. So I started fishing a little place like that. And some of them I'd be almost like walk to or ride a bike to, just like little runoffs. And I'd come back with these stories, telling guys at work, or have a picture of like, all these different fish. I'm like, dude, I caught like all these little fish. I found this over here, and I'd get so excited about it. And I kept finding more and more. And then the more I looked, the more I'd find. So I'm like, oh, well, I got to go find more stuff. Hey, did you even know about this? Did you know about this? So, and then I start getting a lot of different species where I'm like, oh, what is this species? Oh, what is this one? I caught this one over here. And so I just started doing it more and more and more. And for a year, I'm just like, I got a couple of buddies that we'd talk fishing, and they also were like they would, catch trout, smallmouth, river fish, creek fish. There was a couple, they were kind of like exploration type guys. So I would do it. And then I found out about YouTube, and I'm pretty sure I was watching. My brother-in-law is like, have you seen these topwater blow-ups? It's probably like Bama Bass or something, like the first fishing stuff on there. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But I was like, it's like, and then, so I was like, you know what? I want to find a guy on here that does creek fishing. I would love to watch that. And this is the exact same time that River Monsters is like blowing up. Remember when it was like at the height, it was just, everybody was watching it. Yep. And I loved it. That was like, I love River Monsters. I always said I want to do River Monsters, but micro level. Like I want to do it the way he does it, but catch the fish that are in my town, like in the little ditch. But because he would just go out for weeks and go exploring and just it'd show you something you never seen before. But I thought it was just as cool to see the little fish that I'd never seen before. So anyway, I'm like, there's got to be somebody on YouTube doing this. And then I would look, And everything I saw it was probably like the Googans. Like, I didn't even know who they were, but they would catch fish. They would do a little bit of like waiting, but they'd catch a fish and be like, oh man, I caught this fish, and throw it back. They're like disappointed when they catch different fish, or they catch something and call it by the wrong name. I was like, you don't even know what that is. So I'm like, there's got to be somebody doing this. So eventually I'm like, maybe I should make a video, never thinking anything about it. Like I said, I didn't know a single YouTuber, I didn't have a YouTube account, Instagram account. I had a Facebook account, and that's it. And like, I never made a video, didn't have a camera, didn't have a laptop. So I sold my house back in Middle Tennessee. So I'm like, around that time. So I had a little money in savings. Like, you know what? I'm going to take, I think it was like $1,000. I'm going to take $1,000. I'm going to buy a camera and a laptop. And that's how I'm going to get started. Just to be able to like, feel like I have, a little bit of stuff. So I was like, the first video I went out is on my channel now. I took my nephew and my cousin to a little roadside creek and just let them catch fish. I filmed them. My camera died halfway through. That's my first video. Still on there today.
Perfect.
And it was, so that's the start. I can keep going if you want to keep going from there.
No, keep going. Okay. No, keep going. Like, I love it. Like, I'm here for it, because when you talk about this fishing, like when you talk about actually going out and catching these creek fish, dude, you like light up, which is so awesome. So fishing for you, like you do, like you really do. So like fishing for you isn't just like a pastime. It isn't just like a passion. Like, you are fully enthralled in this. This like runs your life. Like, this motivates you to move. That's awesome, dude. So
there's no way I would have kept doing this if I didn't just absolutely love it, because I would, I started, it was in the summer of 2016. I'm like, I'm going to make videos. Man, they were horrible. I could not figure. It was like, I would go back and look at the footage. I tried to get my brother had moved down. I was like, film for me. He was like, I don't want to film. Like, film for me. I'm fishing. I looked back at the footage. I'm like, this is horrible. What are you? So I'm like, all right, this ain't going to work. He does not care about it at all. So
he's fishing, he's filming the birds and stuff. You're like, bro.
I'm like, yeah. So I'm thinking it's gonna turn out one way, and it looks, So
quick
I'm
question.
like, all right. So I go buy like a GoPro, and learn what GoPros are. Try to how do I wear it? Do I wear a mic? What do I do? I don't know. The first few a lot of my early videos, I set a camera up and like would fish. But I'm like, I can't go nowhere. I keep having to set this camera up. Then, I start wearing a camera. And I'm like, okay, this is way better. I can get into places and kind of keep moving around. But I just started doing stuff locally, all around my area here in East Tennessee. And a lot of local people started following. Well, first year, like from 2016, from the first 6 months, the winter, I didn't even fish in the winter. I didn't make a single video. I'd never fished in the winter before. I didn't know people even fished in the winter. I thought everybody just stayed home.
The fish go away this time of year.
Yeah, you can't fish in the winter. And so for the whole 3 months, I didn't make a video. The next summer, as soon as it gets warm, I pick it back up. Like, all right, I'm gonna do this again. We're gonna get back at it. Another thing about I was 30 when I started, and I tell people this all the time. If I was 28, 27, I don't think I had the confidence to to make videos. Because I didn't know enough about social media that there's going to be people making comments, making fun of you, saying things. And I was mentally prepared for that at that time. So I was like, okay, I don't care. Your family, I would tell some, like my family, and they're like, yeah, that's dumb. So I'm like, yeah, well, I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyways. So, I made up my mind. I was doing this for me. I'm doing this because I want to see these videos, and I'll share them with my buddies at work. And I think it'll be cool for them. And maybe some local people will watch, because I bet a lot of local people don't realize there's this many fish in this creek that everybody knows about, the Greenway, or stuff like that. So the next summer I pick it up again, start to get a little bit better. I mean, I don't know if I actually did. At this point, I'd had 200 subscribers, and I was like, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
A year in, it got 200 subscribers. That's not bad. So, and it was a year. It's like towards the end of that year, I had, I think I'd gotten like up to 1,000 subscribers. It was about 2 years in, right around that. And I got my first paycheck from YouTube. It was like $150. And I thought I'd made it. This is like the greatest thing. I made money from making videos on YouTube. I'm like, I don't know a single other person in the world that can say that, and to me, that was like the coolest thing. And then I started to watch a lot of YouTube, and that's where I started watching, because before I really didn't watch a lot of YouTube. I only watched like Tracy McGrady dunks. I was like,
yeah.
let me see what Vince Carter did last night,
Bro. Yes.
in whatever low res they had back then.
Yeah, the 720p or whatever. You're like, yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm like, okay, and then I start finding that there's these guys. I think like Fluke Master and like some of the Guggen guys. Like I start finding there's guys that are like making videos all the time and like doing a lot of it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I start following some of these guys. I never really, but I never looked at them the same, because I never patterned what I did off how they did. I always knew I'm going to do it my way. It's going to be different. I don't care who watches, and I'm going to catch what I want to catch, and I'm going to show it. And I'm sure there's at least 500 people out there that will enjoy this. That's all I'm looking for.
Yep.
So I'm getting like 300 or 400 views of video, making $100 to $200 a month, living the best life, and working 50 hours a week and on call on HVAC all the time. And then I remember vividly. I had, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. It was kind of starting to grow a little bit. I was like, this is kind of cool. I'm making a few $100s. I was like, man, if there's any way I could turn this into a full-time job, I would do it. I was just out fishing, and I was actually on call. I would fish a lot on call. Would just be waiting to get called. I'd be in my work van, stop somewhere, be waiting to get called back in. Usually fish a little while, then I get a phone call. Hey, the air conditioner broke. I'm like, all right. So I was like, that would be really cool if I could do this. So from 2 years to like 2.5, everything started changing.
Mhm.
I had a video. The second year, I finally made a few winter videos. I'm like, oh, you're supposed to I can fish in the winter. So, and then I had a video in the fall that like didn't get any views, but that next spring it started taking off. And I remember I was at work. I'm like, I showed my buddy, look, 20,000 views. That's ridiculous. I was like, they're like, no, that's awesome. And I started looking and started making a little bit of money. And then they see here, I think it was that spring, whatever it was. I was like 2.5 years in. That spring, a lot of my old videos I just started getting views. Like all these videos just started getting views from like ones that had like 200 views. All of a sudden they had like 2,000. Yep. And then a couple other ones went from like a couple thousand to like 20,000. I was like, and for like 3 months, it just kept growing and growing and growing. Every day I'm like sharing this stuff. I'm like, dude, I made $1,000 this month. A few days later, I'm up to $1,200, and then a couple of days, I'm like, dude, I've made $2,000 this month. So it was like a light switch within a few months where I went from like $100 to $200 a month from YouTube revenue to I made over 1,000, and I've never went lower than that again. It just boom. Hey, here you go. I was on the what's it called? The upcoming YouTubers page for a day, like trending like YouTubers.
Oh,
and
wow.
So a buddy of mine that was a guy I kind of met through YouTube. He had like 40,000 subscribers at the time. He's like at 1 million now. He has a homestead channel. But like he sent me a picture. He's like, dude, you're on the trending page. I was like, I didn't know what that was. So in one day I gained like 5,000 subscribers just from like being on that page. Oh, and just a lot of these people came out of the woodwork, started like, hey, I love creek fishing. Hey, I love what you're doing. Hey, I used to do this when I was a kid. I'm like, I had no idea there was people out there like that. Next thing you know, I'm at 20,000 subscribers. I'd saved up like $10,000 from YouTube money, and I hadn't spent any of that. So I'm like, I'm quitting my job. And they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, dude, I'm doing it. I'm going to quit. I thought about it. I turned in a notice in September of 2019. I was like, I'm quitting. And my boss is like, yeah, I figured you'd go work somewhere else. Because I could have went and worked anywhere. And I was like, no, I'm quitting. I'm making YouTube videos. He's like, what? You make money off that? He knew I did it. He didn't know. I was like, like I told everybody about it. He didn't know I was making money, like money. I was like, yeah, I'm making money. I got some saved up. I'm gonna live off of this. And if it runs out, maybe by next summer, I'll probably just, could I come back to work? He's like, oh yeah. So I was like, all right. Yeah, I kind of had intentions like maybe I'll just come back and work after money runs out. And that's the start, 2019. Then COVID hit and I started traveling because there was nobody on the road, which is crazy.
Oh yeah.
I just going places. It was, and I went and visited my sister in Oklahoma. I just started stopping everywhere I wanted to stop, filming it. Started putting out way more videos because I had way more time, and I'm just like cranking out videos.
Fishing off the side of the freeway because nobody's out there.
Yeah, I had so many videos like that. It was awesome, and just people just kept coming, and it just started growing, and it still grows every month. It's every year I've made more than last year. Every year has grown a little more. I think last year was probably the first after 5 years or 4 years. Last year was the first time I actually made more money than I did on my previous job because of like taxes and stuff. So I'm like just barely making it by for 3 years, but having the time of my life. And then I think last year was my first like actual good year. I was able to put some money away, pay off my house. I threw a little money at that and did some stuff like that. And then hopefully if this year does the same, I'll be able to pay off my truck and then just like really start kind of being able to, set things up for future. But you never know what's going to happen. And here I am still doing it, waiting on it to whenever it goes away, it goes away. If it don't, I'll just keep having fun.
Dude, no, that's so awesome. Like there's a lot to unravel in this little small section. First off, I did have a question. I have a GoPro. I love my GoPros. But when I started with my GoPros, I'm like a monkey banging a rock with a stick. So how many times, or has this ever happened to you where you hit the record and you hit the stop and then you flip flop in your brain and you start stopping recording when you start to catch fish and then you start recording when you're not catching fish? Has that ever happened to you? You just let it record the whole way through? Because
I still do that. I turn it on and I don't ever turn it off.
Got it.
It's just something I started doing, and I know a lot of guys do off and on, and I've never liked it. It may take a little bit longer to edit, but I don't want to miss anything. And there's so many times that things happen that out of the blue that I've had my camera on, even walking back to the truck or something, that I'm like, man, I'm still glad I was still rolling. So I'm pretty good about just turning it on. I let it run. I want it running from the minute I step out of the truck to when I get back in.
Got it. Yeah. See, I do that now. I learned that now, but I did not know that in the beginning. I was like, clip.
It would die all the time, and then I would catch good fish. That's usually the way. Or the little sessions, and it dies on you, and you're like, well, I got to fish my way back to the truck. End up catching way more fish. Nothing to show for it. So then you start trying to carry as many batteries as you can, and this, and then extra this, and extra that, and then you lose those, and something breaks, and you got to go get more, but. So I have a GoPros and the what's the other one? The DJI, a couple DJIs.
Okay, yeah. So you're going back and forth with those right now?
Yeah, they're both good. I like the GoPros. I love how simple it's like. You can't go wrong with the GoPro. They just work. But
friendly.
Yeah. They're very user friendly and very easy to use. Now, especially now with all the new ones, like the old ones, the audio was horrible. You touch it, and it would be like boom, and then it shake like crazy. Now that the stability, the audio, they're awesome. But I keep having a problem with them overheating. So I had a lot of overheating problems this last year. So I ended up buying a couple DJIs, and those would be all right. But I like my media mod on my kayak. So there's certain things I like for this, certain things I like about this.
Yeah.
But they both do good. They're both really good.
We're going to go down a GoPro conversation real quick before we jump back into it. Do you do direct power or do you just do batteries for your GoPro?
Like on my kayak, I do direct power.
Okay, yeah, I do the same thing.
I try to anyways most of the time. But if I'm waiting or walking, most of the time I have it sealed up because sometimes you might fall in or something. So I try. I used to wear a mic, and then I've gone away from the microphones really because the audio I feel like is really good. And then sometimes I wear like a little foam wind cover if it's really windy, and those do really well.
Yeah.
And then I'll just bring, if I'm waiting or just walking the bank, I'll bring two, three batteries, and I'll be fine.
Okay, yeah. Dude, I really like those little Naqua batteries. I got a 20
just
amp
got one.
I got a 20 amp that runs all the electronics in my kayak, minus the graph. The graph's run by another Naqua battery actually, but so I like those little 10 amps. Like I feel like I could just shove that in my pocket and like plug it right into my chesty cam if I was going to go bank fishing. I
just saw that so at the Kayak Adventure Series. Somebody had actually brought you up. We were talking about you.
Oh no!
Before you even comment, and I remember because I barely seen a little bit of your stuff. And I remember seeing your name and comments and stuff. But somebody brought you up about something, and I was just thinking about that. But the Naqua guy was at the house that I stayed at with Drew.
Okay, yeah.
And I got a 20 amp hour.
Oh,
and I didn't even heard about them because I've been running a battery pack that run down about every day.
Yeah,
dude, that thing is awesome for running my camera.
Oh, dude, they're solid. Yeah.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Those little ones look amazing. Somebody was showing me those. I'm like, dude, I wish I'd have had that, 3 years ago or something like that. But it fits right in there. That's that would almost make me go back to using one, just how convenient it is.
Yeah.
But most of the time, I'm a little worried about getting some of that stuff wet if I'm waiting, waiting trips and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Well, of course. Yeah. Because it's direct plug into your camera and there's no real waterproof port for the plugins yet. I'm sure GoPro will figure it out. But, yeah, dude. So anyway, sorry. So yeah, one of those viewers around 2020 was me. Cause that's when I got into fishing and I fished the creek by my house. My mother-in-law gave me a rod for my birthday. It was COVID. I was working because I was doing construction, but like they were light hours and they wanted to have everybody separated. So it was pretty easy work. So at the end of the day, I still had energy and I'm like, oh, let's go down the creek. And all I knew was like, Panther Martins from when I was little, like it was either a cheese ball or a Panther Martin. And I don't want to sit there, So I just do a little Panther Martin trout blade and just, so I go down to the creek, but I threw it out there first couple of times trying to figure it out and I just let it sink to the bottom and like nothing's biting. All right, start reeling it back and then boom, I'm like, oh. And then I didn't even know what the fish was. I took a picture of it and of course, thanks to social media, I'm like, what's this fish? And everyone's like, it's a bass. I'm like, whatever it is, I want like 1,000 more of these things. This is awesome. But so I started Googling like, because I wasn't really YouTube savvy. Like I did YouTube, a lot of skateboarding stuff for sure, but I didn't know that fishing would be on YouTube. So I Googled creek fishing, creek fishing, creek bass fishing. And one of the accounts that came up was your account on YouTube. So I started following you and I was like, oh, he's throwing little spinners and stuff too. All right, I'm on the right track. Like this guy's a G. So yeah, it was like you and Fluke Master and a couple other people. So yeah, dude, I was one of those followers and I was like, dude, your content really helped me in general. Cause I was doing exactly what you're doing. Just walking around these creeks, getting wet, trying to catch fish wherever I can, So when you were enjoying the freedom of our nation's 1.5 year break, you said you kind of dove into it head first, like because not only the finances were there, but the free time was there. Did you take any special trips or anything that like really stood out to you as like, this was probably one of the best places I've ever been and I would have never gotten here if I hadn't had this freedom?
The first trip I did was out to my sister's in Oklahoma. So Tennessee, Oklahoma is like 11 hours. And I was like, all right, I'm going to build in time, stop wherever I want to stop. And I stopped at 3 places. And one of them, I remember even driving over a creek and I like just turned around, came back. I caught so many fish on that trip. It was, I guess it was fall. So yeah, it was like, whatever that was, whenever I first went. No, wait. I can't remember. Actually, now I'm getting confused. So I think I did it. No, yeah. So actually, right when COVID hit, that's when I did. When was it? Was it spring? It was like spring when they started happening.
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah. It was like March.
That's right, because my church.
It was March.
Down.
Yeah.
And like we couldn't even have church, and I'm like, and I did children's church. I'm like, I don't know, like, what do I do? And I was like, I've been wanting to travel, and they were like, just go somewhere. I was like, I'll go visit my other sister. So yeah, so I take a trip, and I had caught so many fish everywhere I stopped. And I remember pulling over at this random ditch. It was muddy water. It was in the middle. It was on the Missouri border. and it was just like flat land, like farmland, like kind of like Indiana looking.
Mhm.
And I drove through like I kept seeing these ditches. I'm like, next one I come across, I'm gonna stop. I just pull over, and I caught spotted bass and crappie and bluegill. And I caught like 20 to 30 fish, and I was there like an hour.
Yes.
And I'm like, boom, there's another video. And I had a bunch of these trips that were just so random that I would just stop and immediately just catch fish. And those kind of videos are what I love. And I'm mad at myself that I don't travel more. I feel like I'm kind of like always trying to edit and catch up.
Mhm.
But like, if whenever I get an editor and or somebody, if I'm just gonna roam, because the most random stops are the best stops. You just come across something, you're like, oh, so I would, every time I go to a trip now, I just build in an extra day, and like, because whatever I see, I want to stop. I want to be as spontaneous as I can. And just, if I come across something, I come across something. But that's how you learn things. You come across new things you never thought of. I'll fish anywhere. Like, I don't care what it looks like, because I've been so surprised in some of these places. Even places, I'll explore every creek, even if it looks like it's that much water. You
Mhm.
get down in there, and then you find a deep hole, and all the fish are loaded in there. You're like, I would have never come across this. So that, and then my first trip to Florida really changed what I thought. And then every year, every winter, I go to Florida now, and there's so much to do, especially if you're like a multi-species, just panfish kind of guy, or just catch whatever. It is, and the people from the north love those videos. Like, I get so many good videos, so many good views in the wintertime being able to do that. And that's something that really kind of holds me over through the winter when it's kind of really tough. And that's something I plan to do every winter from now on.
You're gonna be like the geese. You fly south for the winter and just that's awesome.
Yeah.
So okay, perfect segue, because I do want to talk about your most recent Florida trip. Because first off, Kayak Adventure Series, Drew's a buddy, and I try and do what I can to support him from wherever I can, whether that means type on a computer or shoot random DMs to influencers to see if they want to jump in, and just, whatever, like, hey, I'll do whatever, I can help, because I'm over here in California. I can't just take off all the time. I'm pretty far. It's an expensive flight. But I did see on the social media, first off, you caught a Swanee bass. Like it was black. It was black. Like it was sunburned real bad. So explain how that went down. Like, explain that.
Yeah, that ended up being the biggest fish I caught in Florida. I was so aggravated. I fished. People are catching 6-pounders, 7-pounders, 8-pounders, and I hated Florida fishing, like that area of it. I could not figure it out. But if anybody ever wants to go, the Santa Fe River and the Swanee River, but the Santa Fe River, it's a kind of a small river. There's a bunch of natural springs that flow into it, and it's got a native fish called a Swanee bass, and named after the Swanee River. So I've been down there a few times and caught them. It's in North Florida area, and I knew that they were, I'd already caught them in that river. Probably, I don't know. I've caught hundreds, and I've been down there. I'd probably fished the river 4 or 5 years in a row, and so they were just outside the boundaries of the tournament. But I was like, when I went down, I was like, if anybody wants to go there, I'll go back to that river rather than pre-fish for the tournament. Like, because I know it'd be more fun. So like me, Jake, another Jake, and what's the other guy's name? I forgot. I can't remember his name. But like four of us went. Let's see here. It was the day before the tournament, I think. And they were like, we were all staying at Drew invited us down to stay at his house, at the house he had there. So we were like, y'all want to go? I was like, I'll go. I don't know where to go and like where we can get right on them. And they're like, yeah, let's go. So we drove. It was like an hour and a half from the house. We went up, fished the river for 3 hours, and we had to drive back because that was the night of the what's it called?
Inauguration or whatever. The inaugural.
Where you go sign up night, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Where you sign in and stuff. So we had like a little bit of time. We'll go up there. We're going to hit it and come back. And I was excited they wanted to do it because it was something, because I love river stuff. And I couldn't find that kind of river stuff down there in where I was in Florida. It was all grassy and different. So that's more of like river, rocky. You got a little current. So we go up there, and they were excited about trying to catch something new. So we fish. I caught one pretty quick, and then I think Jake caught one or two. It was kind of a cold day. We were catching them, and then I hook into one. I was like, "Oh, this is a good fish. Yeah, it's probably a largemouth." Yeah, now my PB Sewanee bass, it was 15 and a half inches long, which might not sound big, but like if you catch a 14 incher, that's a trophy size in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 15 and a half. It was so thick, and it weighed 2 pounds, 6 ounces, I believe.
Oh,
It looked like it was just built. These things are thick and a little bigger, like a big fat northern smallie kind of. Yeah, I was so pumped. It was definitely the highlight of my trip down there. And I got what was cool was like a bunch of guys from like the Florida that were in the tournament got to see it, and they were like, "What is this?" They're over here chasing 10-pounders, but they thought it was really cool to catch something like that. So a lot of those guys, I talked to several of them, and I told them like where to go. But so that's my definitely a biggest one of those ever caught, and that's like the world record. I think is like 3.5 pounds or something. So they don't get that big.
So you were right there. Like you were right there knocking on the door. 3.5 pounds.
If you catch a 2-pounder is just as a monster, like most it's pretty hard to catch one over 2. So I'll be hard to break this, but yeah, that was something really cool. And I caught it on the lure I designed, so that was even like better. So that was really neat.
Let's talk about this lure real quick then before we jump into the next thing. I want to talk about this lure. What do you got?
Got it ready right here.
Hell yeah, let's see
so
this.
It's a little do you know mule fishing stuff? Have you seen that?
I just started following their stuff the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me and him do a podcast once a month. And he's just a multi-species kind of guy. That's how we kind of connected, and we just kept up. But he asked me if I wanted to design something, and I had this design, I bet 2.5 years ago, drawn out. I was like, if I ever design a lure, I want this. And just, I've worked with lots of different, or I sort of work with lots of different companies, but nobody's ever like, hey, you want to make a lure? So he's like, hey, you want to make a lure? And he's got his own small company. He does everything multi-species. And we came up with this. He tweaked it a little bit, and it turned out a little bit bigger than I thought. It's actually it's 2 inches, but I wanted it bulky. I didn't want it like thin. And I use a Helgermite a lot and like creature baits a lot. And I know that fish love bugs. Like everything eats a bug. Like you'll see these giant fish eating little bugs.
Nature's Snicker bars. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, I want to have something I want to make. I want to make this. So we started on it last January. It came out this past January. We've had it out for like 2 months. And I think we've already sold over 2,500 packages.
You're about to sell some more.
Yeah. So I'm going to buy them. So cool that like I can be like, yes, I designed that. Something I have a part of, something I actually make money off every pack that sells, rather than like I have a couple companies that send me stuff, and I have one company I work with. But this is something that like my name's attached to this, and then I catch that fish on it, which was super awesome. So I'm
everybody in Florida is going to be buying those things up, going after the going after.
What's funny was I was talking to one of the guys, Blake. And he's like, what are you throwing for that? And I showed him. He's like, I don't got anything that small. He's like, what kind of hook do you use? I'm like, this 115. He's like, what? It was hilarious because he's like he catches, they catch like 6-7 pounders like all the time. So downsizing like is so another world for them, like doing stuff like that. So it's funny seeing things like that, things that I've learned from doing what I do, that there's so many different types of fishing. And like I'm asking help for how to catch this, they're asking help how to catch this. It's just so many ways to fish and have fun doing it.
So you jumped into the Ocalipalooza with because this is what we're talking about, the Kayak Adventure Series, right? The Ocalipalooza. This is where you caught the Sewanee bass. You jumped in with your own lures that you made, that were your own design, and you went and fished the way you wanted to fish. And you were upset that you couldn't catch large fish, but yet you almost caught a state record. And then on top of that, you turned around, you saw monkeys. You did. It was crazy. You did everything. And I'm pretty sure, didn't you win microbag?
Yeah.
Dude, man after my own heart, dude.
Speaking of that, Drew still owes me money. Hadn't paid me yet. I'm supposed to get $250 for winning the microbag. I need to message him. But So I've entered the micro bag on the other. I did 2 other ones last year, and I got first and I got second. So I'm like, if there's anything I do know how to do, I can do I can control that. Catching the big ones, maybe not. I did pretty good at the first one of the year was a river fishing for shoal bass. I was first out of money, but yeah, going down there, I like in Ocalapalooza was like that's why I like his stuff, and he knows that he knows what I like. He knows I like adventure stuff, so he's always like trying to sell me on, hey, you can do this, and I'm like, okay, you talking me into it because it's not about catching the fish. Like I did want to catch a good fish. I was going down there, I brought like things I don't usually bring. I just couldn't figure the fishing out. It was a cold front came through at the same time, but I go to the river where I do know, boom, yeah, catch a giant. And then I went to another river that I found I just picked out randomly, and I saw a monkey crawl up a tree right in front of me. I put that on Instagram. It's got like 500,000 views.
Bro.
But I saw 3 giant manatees go right beside me.
I saw that.
They were bigger than my kayak. I'm like, these things are terrifying. Like I hope it's a good thing these things only eat grass or whatever they eat.
Yeah.
I
heard
it was like a horse going by you.
Yeah, I heard they're territorial. It's a sea cow, literally the manatee. Sea cow,
and it's so funny. Their tails are so like I just didn't know what to think. I've never seen one in person, seen them on videos, but their tails aren't sideways; they're up and down.
Yes, yeah.
Like I wasn't even thinking about that. Just looking at that kind of stuff was amazing.
And it's like teardrop. It's like God's Play-Doh project. Like the Lord was like, you know what? Let's make some funny looking stuff and just played some Play-Doh for a while. And out came manatees, dude. We're gonna take this walrus and just smush.
Yeah. So I'd go back and just fish or just kayak there for fun. There was I saw some giant bass in that river. I threw a glide bait. I had the S waiver. If I'd have brought a giant glide bait, I may have caught one. But dude, I saw so many like 5, 6, 7 pounders would come out and follow my glide bait. I couldn't get any of them to hit. But for that first part of the river is like crystal clear. Then it kind of changes as it goes downstream. But yeah, that's where I'm like, as far as the adventure part, I still look back at and like, man, that was fun. That was a fun time doing that.
And I bet getting together with everybody, like you know a lot of people. I know a couple people, but I only know them like in more of acquaintance. I have a couple friends, but like you're very well ingrained in this community. Like, so is it like we were talking in Columbus because that's the one expo that I go to that I get to see everybody that doesn't live in California. We were talking about it. It's not necessarily we're getting together for this expo, but also it's more like a reunion. Is that what it's like for you there? Like, do you actually get to like, is it like you're kind of like your basketball guys? Like you get to just, it's kind of like a reunion. You get to hang out with everybody and just catch up.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. The kayak tournament stuff that I like. I never, when I first started YouTube, I didn't even know there was a kayak tournaments. I had no idea who Drew Gregory was. Like for years, like I didn't know any of that stuff that was out there. And then I've gotten into this kayak tournament stuff world and these group of guys, and now I've gotten to we all follow a lot of the same people. A lot of people know who I am now, and things, and I go down there, especially everywhere I go, I meet people like, hey, I've been following your channel for years, and you just talk to random people, and there's so many people like I don't know. I'm like, and I'll meet somebody, they might not never heard of me, or they may know me for years, and just getting to talk to different people. But people in the kayak tournament world, I really love just the group that comes together. You can just go sit down at a table with 10 random guys, and they're just like, "Hey, how was your day? What's going on? What have you been doing?" They might not have never met you before, and it's always easy to kind of fit right in. And plus, there's a lot of friends now I've made through doing stuff like that I might only see every once in a while. That when we get back together, it's kind of cool. Just meeting up, hanging out. Yeah, it's fun.
Dude, that's awesome. You gotta just. Do you film all of that, like the communication with everybody, or do you only film the fishing? Like, have you ever?
That's what I'm the worst at that part. It's hard for me to film outside of the fishing. I would love to get more of this in there, but I have a hard time trying to figure out how to integrate it, or even trips that I do. Like I went on a trip somewhere. Oh, I went and watched a basketball game in Kentucky. Me and my 2 brothers and my cousin, all 4 of us, we went on a trip. I was like, I probably could have made a video out of this. And just stuff like that, but that part of me it's hard to figure out how to do that. I would like to do it more, or I like seeing that when other people do it. Like the Greg Blanchard's like so good at like filming this part of it and this part of it. There's so much effort in that. Like dude, he puts so much effort into setting up this camera, setting the camera up over here. And once I get around a lot of people, that's where I'm not that great. I kind of feels a little awkward. But the fishing part, that's where like my favorite is going out fishing by myself. Yeah. I can just be myself. I can talk as loud as I want. I can do anything. I can slow down as much as I want. I can film the squirrel over here if I want to film the squirrel. There's nobody waiting on me. I feel like that's where I really thrive. But I would like to try to do what you said. Add a little more of the things that people don't see as much.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it sounds. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a few friends like this. I was actually just talking about this the other day with somebody. Like, my buddy Joe Brown. He's part of Jigs and Bigs podcast. He's out there. He's in Massachusetts area. He says that he's very socially, like, he's shy. Basically, he doesn't say a lot. When he says something, it's from the heart. He means it. But he doesn't say a whole lot in public. But once you start talking to Joseph, he's a wonderful dude. I love that guy. He is a friend and he's a good guy. He talks just fine. So I said, don't worry about it, because I'm socially inept as well. So I basically do the opposite when it comes to public speaking or public large groups. I talk way too much, and then I'm thinking about why I'm talking, and I'm telling myself in my brain, shut up, like, stop talking, like, you've gone way too long at this point, just stop right here, just turn around, walk away, never look at these people in the eye again, type thing, But so it sounds like if we ever got together, I'd be just fine. I'd break in all the conversations and just walk right out of the group, and you could just take it from there,
Yeah.
But so do you feel that, like, you kind of like you're saying, you're a shy kid, you feel like that's your personality still, or do you feel like this YouTube and like fishing has allowed you to be confident in yourself and be able to be more open and like outgoing when it comes to people?
Yeah. Like I said, like kind of going back to, I think, like I said, being like 30 years old when I started, a lot of people think you got to start younger, but I think I kind of started getting a lot more confidence. I was getting more confidence in my trade, HVAC, getting used to, dealing with all kinds of different people.
Customers, yeah.
Sometimes some people like try to intimidate you. So I was very good at handling like any kind of situation, whether it's like tense or not, stuff like that. So I gotten very good at, I felt like just as a person and in my confidence in me. And then I think that led into the videos where, all right, I kind of get confidence in myself. I don't care if I fail. I'm doing this for me. I'm not too worried about, if somebody complains or whines or says, this is the worst thing I ever saw. That's fine. And it's not going to, it always bothers you a little bit, but it's not going to like really bother you or anything or bother me. But also I think, it's probably grown, and it kind of, I'm still pretty quiet. If I show up at a house, I'm not just going to start talking or whatever, or talking to everybody. I kind of wait, and then by the end of the week, I'm like the loud guy, not realizing I'm talking that loud, and everyone's like, "You talk too loud." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry." Once I get comfortable and stuff, then I get like talking real loud. I don't know. I got a little hearing messed up in my ear from shooting guns, and then but I've always been like a loud talker anyway. So next thing I know, I'm like yelling. Everybody's like, "Shh, quiet a little bit." Like, okay. Yeah. I kind of got to warm up to everything.
Yeah, dude. 100%. I get it. So you said shooting guns. Are you shooting at targets? Are you actually hunting, or is that something that you do on the side?
I don't really hunt much anymore. I used to like hunting, but I have, I don't know, about 20 guns probably. I like guns and just stuff like that. Guns, knives, fishing stuff. I don't know. But yeah, when I was a teenager, well, especially in my 20s, I was buying and selling guns when I was like 17, 18, people, and, it's just normal. And people I knew, you knew how to handle guns, you knew how to be respectful, kind of know what they cost, and it was nothing for me. So I've always been around guns and stuff like that all my life. And I like different ones. I have several different styles, and actually just traded my uncle for, we traded shotguns the other day. So I got a new home defense shotgun.
Hell yeah.
But I was shooting 22 pistols, and they're really high pitched. And like, I used to not wear like ear protection. And then after shooting one day, my ear rang for like a week. And ever since, I haven't got full recovery on my, what is it? Yeah, the left ear. And but I can I can just so if I'm talking to somebody, I kind of turn if they're being real quiet. But I can hear fine, other than just a little. It's just that little bit. So here's a tip for everybody: wear ear protection.
Absolutely.
I was that redneck that's like nobody needs that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm putting this on every time I shoot now because I don't want to lose any more hearing.
Yep.
Same thing with safety stuff. You kind of get older and you learn. You're like, oh, okay, this actually is important.
Yeah, good idea. I don't like sheet metal in my eye. It sucks.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wear your glasses. Wear your gloves when you're dealing with it.
Yep. Well, unfortunately now the Lord has blessed me with terrible vision. I hit 40, 39, 40, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't see anymore. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Glasses. Yeah. Well,
the next thing.
According to my wife, I couldn't see for years before that, but that's her opinion. My opinion was all of a sudden I'm trying to scribe cut lines and I'm missing the line by about an inch and I don't know why. So this is just what it is. So let's get back to this. You're at the Kayak Adventure Series. You won micro bag. What's that like? Because I haven't been to one yet. So, and a lot of people that listen to the show, a lot of people, the few people that do listen to the show, a lot of them have not showed up to the Kayak Adventure Series. So can you explain exactly what that family is like? Because I try and emphasize how open and awesome the kayak community is. So what was that like for you going up there and winning?
Okay, yeah. So if you haven't been, the way he lays it out is great for everyone to connect. I've fished a couple Bassmaster tournaments and a couple other kind of national events, and it's all straight business. You might see some people, you might not even see anybody. You might just show up, fish, and leave. But there's a meetup Thursday night. It's optional, but a lot of people show up, meet up, you hang out, you register. There's a couple of people maybe display and stuff. So you just kind of meet up, hang out with a bunch of whoever shows up, talking, eating. And then Friday morning, there's a breakfast thing. Sorry. There's a breakfast you can kind of show up to because you can't fish Friday morning. And then the tournament starts Friday at 2. Or 3. It's 4 hours in the afternoon. And then Saturday you're fishing. And then the award show is a big awards. Everyone meet up. There's several, you can show up for a couple hours and hang out. And there's food truck and a lot of different things going on. Maybe some vendors and kayak stuff. Knuckle guy was there. So he had a bunch of stuff set up. So things like that. So there's several times to get together with people that you're not going to feel awkward being there. Everyone's coming. Everyone just come, hang out, talk. Run into somebody you never seen, just talk to them, ask them how their day, or check back. You might have seen somebody at the ramp. Then you're like, oh yeah, hey, how was your day? And stuff like that. So that part of it is very laid back, and it's just a great way for people to connect a lot easier without feeling forced or anything. Mm-hmm. So the awards night is it usually goes to a pretty cool venue, and it goes about an hour long. Kind of goes through a lot of different ways to win stuff, but So I signed up for microbag, and microbag is you got to catch fish between under 9.75 inches, but over 5 inches. So, and you got to get them on the board, get a picture. You can only put one finger. If you do this, you can only put one finger on the fish. So a lot of people get disqualified because they put more than one finger. So that's part of the rule you got to follow. So, and that's, I'm like, well, at least I'm going to be able to compete in that. I'm going to get 5 small fish. I couldn't even catch 5 small fish here. It was great. 10 people signed up for it. Now, some people take it seriously. Some people kind of, it's definitely not the high glamorous thing about the tournament, but it is something fun. It's a fun little thing I like. Yeah. And my goal is to make it more popular. Whenever I show up, everybody knows I'm fishing in it. And I'm there to my whole purpose is I'm going to make this cool. I'm going to drive this thing, never let it die. And so 10 people signed up for this one. And a lot of guys down there were Florida guys, so I don't think they signed up. But a lot of the people that travel, it's funny that a lot of those guys are like, yeah, I'm used to catching small fish like that. I'm going to sign up. So no one else caught a microfish. Nobody. And usually you by accident, you catch an 8 or 9 incher. No one caught any. I had a struggle catching 2. I caught 2 that were 8 inches. and I fished for an hour and a half at least. I was throwing a rooster tail going down this river.
Oh.
I caught a pickerel, slammed
Yeah.
it. I caught several spotted sunfish and a couple red breasts, and then I caught like a 13-inch largemouth. I couldn't catch any more, so
You're
I'm
like,
like,
why?
I'm like disappointed going to the awards. Like, man, I couldn't even win this, and then I end up winning because nobody else caught any. So I was like, yeah, save the trip.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
I got to go up and just say a couple things. He asked me, I just talked a little bit about what I did, and I just try to, everybody, most people by now there, like that's other than the several of the Florida guys, like they kind of know who I am and know I like just kind of catching small stuff. So they were excited for me to kind of see me win it, and I was excited about it. It was, it's a big deal for me to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I mean, and that's awesome for you to get up there and just be like, dude, this is where it's at. Cause I feel for you. I wish I had introduced you to Dark Horse Tackle sooner.
Oh, yeah.
They had a it's called Dink City. It was a fish 10 inches or less. So I mean, you could enter 3 inches. They had like a little rollout board and everything, and me and one of the guys went toe to toe. He ended up winning. I got second. Nobody remembers second. I will never let it die. Because I told him I was going to Disneyland on vacation with my family, and then he took advantage of it and just went for the last 2 days and just mauled them,
Yeah.
But it was super fun. I mean, we're throwing those little finesse griffin like KOs, like, but it was made, I think, Combat Crankbaits painted them or something. It's all American small business tackle, and like, dude, it was super fun. I'm telling you, we're going out there with the smallest lures, just catching as many small fish. It is so fun. I had more fun doing that tournament than I've done any other tournament. Now, having said that, I might have a tournament for you. My buddy Bobby Roast Beef and Joe Brown over there at Jigs and Bigs, they have a multi-species tournament. It's online, and you could catch whatever you want. And they have like a guideline, like there's like no striper, because some people, in the middle America, they can't just catch striper like the guys in the ocean can, but there's like no stripers, and there's a couple different, variations of fish. But dude, you could load the board because you catch a lot of fish, bud. You catch a lot of different species. So I think it would be perfect for you. I think that would be awesome. Yeah. I'll send you the link afterwards, or I'll connect you with them, and you guys can figure that out for sure, because it's a really fun. It's a day derby. You just go out, or I think the multi-species is a month-long derby. You can go out and just catch fish for a month. So, have you ever gone fishing and not filmed it since your YouTube started? Have you ever just gone for you?
Occasionally, I'll just go out and I'll do it every once in a while and just cast, or maybe I pick up a new rod and reel, and I just got like 30 minutes. I'll just go and like kind of, I'm just casting. I don't think I've really like gone fishing without filming.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I film, I turn my camera, especially if I kayak. Well, I film like the camera's not there. Like,
yeah.
I'm not trying to do the most like there. Yeah, you can find way better videos. I'm not trying to do the most. I'm trying to make it as realistic and just laid back and just, hey, this is how I go fishing. I fish the same with a camera as I don't with a camera.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, other than like showing underwater releases and trying to film a couple extra things. So for me, I'm super relaxed fishing. I'm not worried about the camera. I let it run the whole time. Only time it's a problem is if it's like shutting off or you're having problems. But other than that, like I'm not even thinking about it. It's back there. It's on. If I catch a fish, I get to show it. Like, all right, look at this. Let's try to show this, and then back to fishing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've thought about that. Every once in a while, I may go out a little bit, but really not. I'm like, I might catch something cool, and I'm not afraid to throw away all my footage. So if I don't catch fish, I go out all the time, and maybe 3 or 4 hours, and I catch one or fish or no fish. I'm like, no big deal. I'll just trash that. It ain't no big deal. I don't care. It doesn't bother me to go out and not get fish. I don't feel like I had to get something out of that. For the most part. I mean, every once in a while, you're like, I went here just for this, and it didn't work out. But a lot of times, I'll just go out, and if it doesn't work out, it don't work out. So.
Well, you also said it, like, this is what I love about your content is it's so relatable. Like, you are going out there and you're just fishing. Like, you're just having a good time, which is so relatable. It's why I love watching your content. Like, it really just, it keeps me, because I watch a lot of content. Excuse me. I watch a lot of content because sorry Siri, I'm not calling you. Because I'm up late at night and I get up early in the morning, so I'm always consuming fishing content of some sort, and I'm seeing dudes swing on 12-pounders and stuff, and I'm like, that's great, but that's just not my reality, dude. Like, if I get some time here and there, I can actually get in the kayak. Other than that, I'm squeezing little creek walks and that little bank sand on the, like you said, like, I'm not necessarily on call, but if I'm leaving a job and I'm headed to another job, but I have an hour between the two, I'm gonna go check out this pond over here or something, and that's like, so your content is really relatable for me and I love it. But I was just curious if you just ever pause and do the fishing just for you. Like, I'm shutting off the cameras, I'm shutting off the phone. I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to enjoy being on the water and just being, one with nature, one with my creator, like just enjoying myself. Like, is that ever like a concept or something that you do?
Yeah, I've thought about that, and people have asked me that before, but I've never really felt the need to. I don't really feel like I just don't feel like I need to do anything like that. I mean, and then in 6 months or a year, it could change because lots of things have changed. How I feel about different things, as far as YouTube and fishing over time. But I don't feel like I need to. I'm pretty relaxed when I go out and fish. I'm super relaxed, and I'm just I'm zoned in to having to fishing, and I'm pretty good about shutting everything off. I don't answer any messages or phone calls hardly, unless it's like family. But I turn everything off, and like people be messaging me. I'm like, yeah, I'm fishing. I'll message when I get back. So that really helps me just kind of, and that's the thing as far as the YouTube stuff is there's a lot of time on you're talking or editing or looking through comments. But when I go out and fish, I'm filming, but I'm just fishing, and I'm out there to have fun and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love that stuff, dude. So I do have a question for you. Like, one more question, and then I have like a whole list of questions. But so do you feel that like you've been led to do this, or is this something that you just kind of happened upon? Like, let's talk about coincidence versus like spiritual intervention,
Oh yeah, no, I believe God has a plan for everyone, and I've always been trying to do what I feel like God wants me to do, and I thought it was HVAC, and I figured it would be HVAC till I retire, because even through an HVAC, I was able to give to my church, be supportive, fix air conditioners for family, friends, church, people that need it. Like that was a way to I feel like be used and do things, and then I kind of this just came about, and I know God just kind of pushed me in this direction, gave me a desire for this, and has let me just. I feel like He said, as long as in my mind, I'm like, as long as you're giving Him the glory, and you're doing it the way, just being real, and not trying to do anything phony or fake, or just try to do it for money or whatever. I feel like God's just giving me this to do until it might end, and that's fine. But I'm super blessed to be able to do this, and I do believe that this is what I am supposed to be doing, right now at this moment. So for sure, yeah, and that gives me confidence and encouragement to just keep doing what I'm doing. Like, okay, this is my job, this is my path. I met a guy today. He came up. I sold some of my kayaks. He brought his 3 boys up. We got talking. We went and ate. Out of the blue, I never would have met this guy if I hadn't been selling my kayaks. He'd been watching my channel for years. He's a missionary over in Romania. They come to America every couple of years. They said they love it because it shows them a little bit of home when they're over in Romania, away from everything.
Yeah.
It's just super encouraging. Just kind of things like that. It just kind of reaffirms like, wow, I didn't realize like all that was going on. But yeah, so I need to make sure I do what I'm doing it right, and giving God the glory.
Hell yeah. Sure. I love it. By the way, I also believe, but I'm probably the worst example. I think I was talking about this with Alex. I think I was talking about Alex. Like, I'll swear, I say all sorts of dumb stuff, and I do dumb things. That doesn't change the way I believe. I just means I'm a piss poor example. That makes sense.
That's all right.
But all right. So this is kind of where we go to the questions. I have like a series of questions that I ask people at the end, and some people get different. Some answers are always the same. Some of them are different. But I recently added a question with somebody, and that episode will actually be dropping after your episode. It's like I'm kind of all over the place right now. But I did have a question about: do you believe that spirituality and religion are two different things?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Would you like to
Do I need to
elaborate on that
explain
at
it?
all? Or yeah,
Do
would
what?
you, I'd
Yeah.
love you to elaborate. Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh man. I think like I'm not. I think religion is like something man-made, and spirituality, or I'm a Christian. I believe in that God created the world. I believe in Jesus, and I believe in Jesus. I believe in that. Is a spiritual being, I guess you could say that. Yeah, but I don't believe in like just religious rhetoric or religious things that people make up. So yeah, I guess that was different.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was explaining this. I think I was talking to Josh, buddy Josh. I was saying, like, I asked the pastor because I'm going through my own fun struggles, and it's always awesome. Trying to figure all this stuff out. And the pastor gave the best explanation to me ever. He's all, you know, every pastor in every church in every religion is going to be an interpretation. It's their interpretation of what they're reading or what they've been taught. So it's like asking a blind man to describe grass. They kind of have an idea, but they really don't know. They take that interpretation and they take what they've learned, and that's how they explain it to you, and then you can take that with, however it is, and I really like that. He said, I'm not really trying to figure out how, if I was a blind man, I wouldn't be trying to figure out grass. I don't want to ever figure out the Lord. I don't. I just want to meet him one day. That's all I care about. And I was like, oh, okay. He's on. I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I'm like, okay, that makes more sense to me, because I was asking him difference, because me and my wife have been jumping from church to church to church for a while, and I'm like, and they're all within Christian religion, but like they're all like a little bit different here and there. And like I've heard some of the same books and some of the same verses explained in two different ways. One focuses more on like the fire and brimstone, one focuses more on the gift and the grace and the mercy, and like it's yeah. So I asked, and the church I'm at right now that's what I was talking to him about, and I like that place. I don't think I'm going anywhere for a very long time. So
yeah, I think that's important to find something. I mean, that's why there's a million churches, but there's millions of people. So we need lots of, and everybody's just different. So like I love the church I'm at, and I have friends, I have really good friends that go to other churches that I probably like, I just don't, something about it just doesn't fit me, or so, but the main thing is I mean, I want to go to a church that believes the Bible, and they're going to preach it and teach it. And that's the most important thing, and sometimes they might think, you might hear things that are like, is that actually how that is? And you might research it, and it may be like, I think they're talking a little bit differently, as long as they get the main things about salvation, and that's the important things about how to get to heaven. God's the only way. I believe that's like the most important thing. And a lot of things we can differ on or disagree about, little things here and there. And I think that's totally normal.
Yep. All right, cool. Okay, so here is the next question, and this is where all the questions really start. That was my newer question that I just started asking recently, so thank you for elaborating on it. I appreciate it. If you could spend a day with anyone, who would it be? And I'm not talking a day fishing. I'm just spend a day, dude. Like you can go smoke cigars with Nelson Mandela on the beach if you want.
Man, I don't know if I ever thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I love. I don't know if it's one person, but my family, being around when we get together. Like I said, all my sisters, all brothers, sisters, we're all really close. When we get together, it's always good. Like, I'm really blessed to have I feel like our parents raised us really well, and we're all, I feel like good people and stuff like that, where we can get along. We get so well, just joke and have fun, make fun of everybody else, make fun of each other, stuff like that. So I mean that's what I do. I love doing. I don't know if there's I may come up with somebody that's like, oh yeah, that'd be cool to hang out with this guy, but most part I've never been a people person. I'm like, I want to meet that person, or I want to do that person. That stuff doesn't appeal to me very much. So yeah, I guess it would just be family.
All right. What's your biggest fear?
Ooh, let's see here. I don't know. What?
Do you want to hear something funny?
Staying single forever. Oh, oh, hopefully it doesn't happen.
No,
if it does,
no.
I don't know. I really don't. I'm not really thinking about anything that's like I'm worried about or afraid of.
Hmm.
I don't know. What's yours? Do you have one that's like your go-to?
I
Give me an
live in
example.
I live in a lot of fear, to be honest. There's always like the base fears that everybody gets back to. And all fears are, whether they're realistic or non-realistic, they all break down to fear of dying, fear of being alone, and fear of the
Yeah.
unknown, right? Like it's just those are the core fears. I also have fear of losing what I have or not getting what I want. Like that's a human selfish nature, of course. But I think really like that's what I was saying. You want to hear something funny is because I from birth have had two chronic fears, one of spiders and one of small spaces. And I did 4 years in HVAC. And I tell you what, I literally would just I assumed that when I was crawling into a crawl space, I'm like, I'm gonna die today, and that I'm gonna have to just be okay with that. Here we go. Like it was just
Dude,
it was just one long disassociated, panic-stricken, anxiety-ridden crawl to fix something and then come back.
I can agree. I can say I would be afraid. I would be so nervous sometimes. I'm like, this house is gonna fall on me, and I'm gonna be here till I die.
Yeah,
And I'd just be trapped in this. That's definitely a fear. That's on my list. That right there terrifies me. I'm like, oh, if I could just, yeah.
There you go. Yep. All right. We'll jump. We'll say crushed under a house. So, have you ever been broke because of fishing? I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but have you ever been like, oh man, I'm gonna get a cheeseburger after work, and then you stop by the tackle shop and you buy a bag of like Yamamoto's, and then you're like, well, no more cheeseburger.
No, I've usually been pretty good financially. I've been broke because of vehicles.
Oh yeah,
breaking, and then you're like, I don't have any money to fix that. But I've done pretty well for the most part about being conservative with my finances now. I probably spend way more than I should, like everybody, but I don't think I've gotten to that point yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't.
So yeah, I hope you don't either, man, because you're doing great. I love your channel, and I love the stuff that you're pushing out. I really appreciate you. Biggest struggle, dude. What's your biggest struggle in life right now?
For me,
Off the
really,
water, yeah.
it's like I am terrible at like I'm so lazy minded, not lazy minded. It's sort of lazy, but like self motivated. In the mornings, I am the worst morning person, and I really miss having structure, like getting up at a certain time to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm terrible about that. That is probably my hardest thing. I am so in the morning. I'll be wake up or I'm just not motivated until I actually get up and get out. And then I'm like, why did I waste all this time? I could have been out here doing this. But dude, in the morning, I'm a different person. And it's in being living alone and not having a set time. It is. I'm very bad at wasting time, like just laying around or sleeping or being lazy. But then when I'm working, I'm like working hard. Like if you get me up and working, I'm hard at it, and I will, do whatever. But just like wasting time in the mornings a lot, and just not being self-disciplined to just get up and get at my day. That's for sure my hardest thing.
Yeah, I can relate. I'm self-employed now, so I used to have to go to a place, and now it's my schedule. Oh man, dude, like it's so bad.
I mean, even when I did HVAC, I would show up every day 5 minutes late.
Oh, yeah.
but at least, but it would make me get up. I would know I had to be there.
Yeah,
and I would still outwork everybody, but that's another story.
See, when I have a schedule or a routine, I'm like, I have to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. All right, I'm getting up at 4:30 or 4 o'clock. Like most of the time, I'm driving to the Bay Area in California, so it's a 2-hour drive. So if I have to be there at 5, I'll get up at 2. Like I'm getting up, and I just go. Like it works. It was great. Now that I set my own schedule, I wait till 7 minutes before I have to be somewhere, and then I get up. But I'll be awake for an hour, but I just don't want to get up.
Why did I do that?
And I'm kicking myself all the way, and I could have walked the dog. I could have spent some more time with my daughter, but instead I'm like, right, 7 minutes out the door, kiss, bye. So I can relate, dude. It's a struggle for sure. But okay, what's your life hammer, dude? Like in skateboarding, because that's where I come from. I did not start fishing until 2020. I'm a COVID fisherman. It's just what it is. I just stuck around afterwards.
Yeah.
After everybody left, I'm
Yeah.
still here. I used to do a lot of skateboarding, and they would call a hammer as like somebody that would grind like some 20 stair handrail or something, like some major accomplishment, you know? So what is your life hammer? What is the life accomplishment where you can beat your chest and be like, I did that? Like you can be proud of yourself for it.
I think just making a living off YouTube is the thing that I'm like, all right, I did this, you know, and I can always look back at that, no matter if it lasts another day or another 20 years. I'm like, hey, I built that up, you know, I worked, I know, God bless, but like it was me, my effort, my thoughts, everything. I did everything, you know, about it. It was no like magic switch or nobody held my hand or anything like that. So I think looking back at that, you know, I don't really like. I mean, trophies don't mean much to me. Like I won a million trophies in high school. Everything I went to, stuff like that. I mean, I didn't. I mean, I don't even know where any of that is. I got a few kayak tournament trophies somewhere, but they're all in the box. I don't care. That doesn't mean much, like stuff like that. But like building something and being able to look back at it and all the people that I've heard back from that I felt like helped them somehow, whether it was one video or just that old guy that's 75 years old that can't move. He's living for that next video. You know, he might watch a lot of people, but he knows when my video comes out, he's watching it, and that makes his day. That's something I feel proud about being able to accomplish.
Hell yeah, dude. You're very right to feel proud of that shit. So, I do have one question real quick. That's not part of the questions. You said you sold your kayaks. So did you get a new kayak, or are you in transition?
So I have 7 kayaks. I sold 4 of them. I just did a video. I said, I'm selling my kayaks. And it's just kind of like I just want to see what people do. But I sold 4 of them in like a day and a half. So my goal is to go get more. I want to be I kind of gotten like really hardcore into this kayaking world. And I want to try as many kayaks as I can, test out more, sell those, go get more, you know, do reviews. I just love kayaking. It's kind of like how I did trucks. Like I was just like going down this rabbit hole of all these different trucks, you know, and I don't like that with new trucks. They're too expensive, but I can do it with kayaking. You can find them, or now that with my YouTube connections, I can get like a cost at some kayak dealers. I've talked to some other people. So that's why I'm going to actually look here and try to figure out what I want to get next. And just keep trying different ones.
So what'd you sell? Which ones did you sell? Just curious. Yeah, I'm just curious what you sold and what you're looking at. You know,
so I sold a Old Town Topwater 120 paddle kayak, a Crescent Shoaly, a Brooklyn RA 220 kayak, and what's the other one I sold? Oh, a Jackson Bite.
Oh, the pedal one?
Do what?
The pedal one?
No. It's a paddle also. All those are paddle. So I still have my Old Town pedal drive 120. I have a bona fide RVR that I have a motor. Yeah, I was going to ask you about your
my PWR or my RVR. I got an RVR hanging up here, and I got a PWR I'm working on down here. Yeah.
A new one. I was watching the video. I something I might actually look into getting. But and then I have an inflatable. It's still in the box that I haven't opened yet, but I plan to kind of. It's just a cheap one. It's NRS CUDA.
Okay, yeah.
10.5 foot. I got it on sale for like $600. I think they had like a sale going on, and then I just I got some ideas to kind of use it a different way, kind of like a wading style pull behind me kayak. Just pull my gear.
Oh yeah, dude.
Also maybe try it out and some stuff. So I haven't even unboxed it. It's I'm kind of waiting to get a little bit warmer, and then I'm gonna use it. But I've been wanting to try a new canoe. I've never tried one. The PWR has been on my list. I know a lot of guys that have it, and I love the way you were talking about the seat. That's one thing I don't like about the RVR. I'd love to sit a little bit higher and a little bit better seat. And then there's all kinds of different like, what do you want? Do you want to put motors on these? Do you want to put this kind of motor on them? There's so many different routes to go.
Yeah.
So there's so much out there to explore. I felt like I had to kind of purge some stuff that I had.
Mhm.
I sold everything pretty cheap, but I got a little bit of money, and
Mhm.
then hopefully I can get some deals on some dealers, and maybe go on Facebook Marketplace and find another kayak
Yeah.
that I want to try out.
Hell yeah. Dude, I love it. I'm sorry. I was just really interested in that and I forgot to ask you earlier. So yeah, we're definitely gonna talk some kayaks. We'll wait till the show's over and we'll chat it up a little bit. Have you ever learned a lesson in life that you implemented on the water?
Oh, I'm sure I have. I can't. Man. You got deep questions. I wasn't ready for all this. No,
Sorry.
this is good. I appreciate it. It makes me think. Man, I don't know. I can't think of something right now, other than I feel like I learned a lot playing sports. I take a lot of lessons from playing basketball and soccer, or whatever it was. Kind of apply those to a lot of stuff, just persistence and just and then definitely helped me in I did HVAC, just things that were hard. I'm like, man, I went through practice of running and out in the sun. Like, I can handle this heat here. As far as fishing, I don't know. I can't think of something that's really helped me on fishing stuff. Um, I can't. I don't know. I can't give you an answer right now. I really can't think of nothing.
Hmm. Okay. No worries. But I will say that heat in an attic is stagnant air heat. That is totally different than just
Yeah,
being
that's,
outside. Because at least outside you can run and create some wind.
dude, you're walking up in there and you're gonna be soaking wet immediately. Like
Yeah.
how long can I stand here? And then you start not feeling the heat, and you're like, dude, I've been up here too long. And
Yep.
you walk
You're
down,
like,
it's 90 degrees in the house. You're like, wow, it feels cool down here. Yeah.
dude, I need to drink some water right now. That's when I got into electrolytes, was when I was doing HVAC, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I should have had that. I remember walking out in the truck. I'd digging for water, find a
Mhm.
hot bottle of water, hot water, just
Yep.
down the whole thing.
I
Don't
I
even
tell
care.
I tell you what, room temperature water and hot water is actually better for your body than cold water. Because cold water, it it quenches
Yeah,
your thirst, it cools you down, but it takes more. Your body's burning more energy to heat that water up to actually metabolize it. So it's like room temperature water is actually
that's all I
yeah,
drink now. I got bottled waters. I don't put them in the fridge anymore.
hell yeah, hell yeah. Do you ever do electrolytes?
No, my brother keeps telling me about it. I need to get some stuff like that.
So me and Alex were talking because he does the same electrolytes I do. It's 4 letters, LMNT. I think that's 4 letters. Maybe it's
Oh yeah,
5. I can't remember. Either way, point being, it's element. And
yeah.
dude, it will change. One packet will change your day.
Hmm.
One packet. Oh my gosh, it's
I'm gonna get
so
that in.
good.
You just pour it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your bottled water.
Yeah, yeah, it's literally there's no sugars. It's not like the liquid IVs and all that stuff. It's not a bunch of extra. It is sodium, potassium, magnesium. That is it. And oh my gosh, dude, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm sure I need that. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting that.
Yeah, it everything tastes a little salt. It's salty, but dude, it's not
Yeah.
like it's not like you dumped it's not the ocean, if that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
tried
But
liquid IV, I think it was, and that was strong. It was like really
yeah,
hard to drink that.
and it's got like that sugary syrup almost feeling. I don't like that stuff. This is literally, dude. You put it in your water, you shake it up, you slug it, and you'll get that. You'll feel refreshed. Like, dude, your body needs sodium. It's
Yeah.
people think about water, your body needs sodium. Sorry. So yeah, well, all right, we're actually going to get into that in a minute. I don't know why I jumped the gun on this, but I was just curious. um, what's your biggest mental or emotional block, dude? Like you hit a wall, whether mentally or emotionally. Like, what's probably going to hit that? Like, what's going to trigger that?
Mm. I mean, a lot of times weather like just gets you in a funk where I know I need to like be making videos and fishing, and it's just horrible, and I just don't want to do nothing. I'm like, that's being disorganized. Kind of puts you in that way. If I don't keep things kind of organized, I'm not a super organized person, but if everything just gets out of whack, and I just kind of puts me into like I don't want to do anything, or like it doesn't help me work. It like makes me just kind of like lazy and stuff. I just recently spent a lot of time organizing my garage, but if I have a lot of stuff going on, like it could even be with vehicles, like trying to make decisions, a lot of decisions outside that for some reason, it just like you got to be creative making videos, and you got to be like just ready to go. Like there's something to that. So if I'm just like got all these other things, decisions going on, even if it's not even taking away time, it takes away my mental capacity. I'm not good at that. I have to be focused on one thing, and if there's just several things going on, it just doesn't. I just can't do what I'm doing. So some of that, but what snaps me out of that a lot is if somebody has a trip planned or something going on, or like me and Alex will do a trip or something like that, and it's like, hey, this is planned. Like if I know something's planned, I'm going to be there for that. That's like the best thing. Like, all right, we're doing this no matter what. But if I get up on a day where I'm just something, it's just everything's out of whack. I'm like, I don't know what to do today. Where do I go? What's going on? I can have a lot of days like that, but usually when the sun comes out, it starts getting warm, and summertime. That kind of gets me. I'm just like ready to start. I just get ready to go. It just gets me going.
Yeah, like a seasonal affects. Like in the heat, in the sun, you're ready to move, and in the cold, you're like, it's too muggy today, or it's too many clouds.
I can find a lot of excuses.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Do you ever find that you're like more like just down in the winter at all, like just emotionally down, or you pretty much even keel year round?
No, I mean I'm usually a pretty even keel guy, but like I have found just because of this is what I do. It is weird in the winter. I feel not as I'm definitely like I'm not as productive. Days that get short. I'm like, man, I wish I had a few more hours of daylight. I could have figured this out. And then like I do fish when I go out fishing. I'm having fun fishing, but like thinking that I have to make videos, like that's another part of me. That's like my work part of me. That's like I need videos. If I don't have videos to put out, I don't make money. I have to have these coming out. I'm not getting views. So when I'm thinking like that, I definitely in the wintertime, especially in the winter, is like I just get into a funk where I could just waste a day away where I'm never just nothing was motivating me to go out. Maybe I was piddling around doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But it definitely, the weather definitely has an effect on that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's seasonal affects. Have you ever looked into seasonal affects or anything? Oh, okay. It's really interesting.
I know that every time I go to Florida in the wintertime, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I jump right out of it.
It's
like, wow,
dude.
I'm going to stay down here.
Oh, dude, it's like a whole thing. Like if you ever get bored and you got nothing to do and you just don't feel like getting out of bed, look up seasonal affects. It's pretty awesome. They show you like ways to get out of it too. It's pretty cool. All right. So where does just fishing fit into all this now? Like just going out and fishing. Like, are you still, like you said, like most of the time we've already talked about, like you're dedicating, you're doing videos and stuff like that. But have you ever just dedicated one Wednesday a month? I'm just going to go fishing and just leave it at that.
I feel like I do it even like with the camera on. I like tomorrow I'm planning. I got my ultralight rod ready, and I'm just gonna go hit a couple spots. I gotta. It's usually I don't like fishing on Saturday a lot because a lot of people are out there, and there's some bank spots that like there could be white bass, yellow bass, crappie, bluegill. So it's like a spot, maybe skipjack that I could just catch anything. So I have some spots like that, and that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm like, I'm just going to go hit these spots, spin a few times, and probably come back and watch basketball games. But like, I'm not counting on. I'll just do that for fun, And if I catch fish, I catch fish. If I don't, I still have to get out there and get it out of my system. It's like I just got to go fish for a little while. I definitely get. I still do it with the camera on usually, but like. I'm just going to go. And like, and I'll do that in the wintertime where I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going to catch a fish, but I just got to go fish. I'll go out, and that's where I'll be. I just got to go out to the bank or just go somewhere. And I might just go to the bank of the river or lake and fish a couple hours. If I end up coming into some kind of fishing and it makes a video, that's great. If not, I got that out of me. All right. I just had to go do it.
I love it. All right, so here's one. I don't know. I saw this thing on the internet because I spent a lot of time on the internet, and it, for some random reason, struck a chord with me, and I felt like it needed to be put into a question. So it says, if we're defined by something or someone that we love, or if we're defined by something that we love, tell me about someone or something that you love that defines you.
Something or someone. I mean, I usually go back to basketball and stuff like that. Like, I like the structure of it and just how it is. I don't know if that defines me or not. Fishing, I don't know. Like, what? Give me an example. Something you have I don't know if I have a person that defines me.
Something or someone. So, for me, like, I was into skateboarding and then I got into fishing. And what I found from both of those is like, I don't need a whole lot of people to do those. In fact, I can go do those by myself. And it's basically a struggle of me versus me. So me finding basically myself in both of those aspects of my life. Because whether it's skateboarding, it's me with a tool, skateboard, working against trying to find a trick, basically defying gravity or trying to defy gravity. I fail all the time. Gravity reminds me it's there. But that struggle where it's basically me versus me. And so then when I get into fishing, it's the same thing. I mean, mind you, if the fish aren't biting, that's not on me. It's only partially on me because I'm either throwing it in the wrong spot, I patterned the wrong fish, so I'm in the wrong body of water, or I'm throwing the wrong lure. You know what I'm saying? But basically, for me, it's a struggle of I find that solo activity is something that I love to do because I find myself and I learn more about myself in it. As selfish as that sounds, but
no, we need that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be my explanation. So solo activity would be mine. But yeah, either way.
I mean, it's for me. I mean, I don't know. The thing I love that I enjoy that just is maybe it's probably just like floating the river. I don't know if that's a good answer, but like just the river, it's just always flowing. It's always changing. It's always beautiful.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
That's awesome. No, that's an awesome
I'm
example.
terrible at your questions. I'm failing over here.
No, you're not. You're not failing. That's a phenomenal answer. Like, I wish I had said something cooler like that, or been like less selfish and been like, I love my family, but I didn't. Like you had a way better answer than I did. So all right, this is the last section. It's a 3-part question, and it's about health. It's what do you do for hydration? What do you do for diet? And what do you do for mental clarity?
Oh yeah, I'm failing these. I try to drink water, but I'm terrible at it. So I'm gonna get those element things. But like I'm bad about drinking a lot of energy drinks and like Mountain Dew and stuff. And then I'll wake up with a headache the next day. And I know it's just like I'll like just down in water and Gatorades, try to get rehydrated. But health, I don't do a lot. I try to be active. Like I said, I used to play basketball all the time, and I've stopped. And that's a lot of like cardio and stuff. Like, and I love that because you're using all kinds of muscles when you're playing basketball. It's like you're using all kinds. Be soaring, everywhere. I'm trying to do more of that. I would love to get back doing that regularly. I'm terrible at like making myself exercise or anything. I do some stretches and stuff a lot of mornings, or when I'm kayaking to kind of just not get too tight and stuff. But I don't do a lot really, and I'm gaining weight from it. But, diet, diet's the worst. I don't do anything. I just eat what I want, do whatever. I don't have any kind of self-control on that.
Oh, that's awesome though.
Yeah, it's catching up to me, but I feel like I try to wait. Like in the winter, of course, it's easy not to do much, but in the summer, I try to make myself wait a lot. And even I've gotten bad, like older, and I'm getting more tired. Like, man, I used to go further. Like, no, I got to push myself to keep going. I don't want to quit doing this. This is something I like doing. I don't want to get too tired and be like, I'm going to give that up. So I definitely try to, and waiting too. Wading streams is work.
Yes.
Sliding all over rocks.
Yep.
I'll go with people. Go ahead.
You're blowing out your ankles, rolling your ankles over a rock here and there. Oh my gosh, dude. I know.
Yeah, you're fighting the current, you're fighting the hills, you're fighting everything. So I love doing that, but it's work for sure. But I enjoy that part of it. Like, all right, I need to put this effort into doing this, walking this mile through the creek. Then I gotta walk back. But that exhausted feeling is awesome. A lot of people. My brothers, like, they work out a lot. Like, go to the gym. I don't know. I don't know if I can make myself go to a gym and do it. just feels so weird.
You said they're 10 years younger than you, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let them do their gym. It'll end, and then they're gonna be in a world of hurt with no workout. It's all good.
Yeah.
No. You ever? I don't want to sound all California hippy dippy, but have you ever tried a foam roller?
No, I've seen them, but no.
You get a foam roller and you start from the backs of your knees and you roll it up like your hamstrings up to your butt cheeks, and then just do that for a while and then roll across your butt cheeks. As weird as this sounds, just let me go with this. And then you roll it up to your lower back, up to like your shoulder blades and back down your lower back over and over again, dude. After kayaking, the next morning, dude, you feel a lot better. I mean, I use a lot of kayak cushions too. I'm like that guy. Yeah. I like the Bertha ones with the lumbar support, the cush bar, because I've been construction and skateboarding my whole life. My back is.
I need to get that one. I need to get that lower support one. Yeah.
The cush bars. It's legit. Get the firm one though. Don't get the soft one. The soft one is just, it's just there. But I'm telling you, just use a foam roller, dude, and your legs, your body will thank you.
You just lay on it? Like
you just lay it on the ground, and you start by, I start by sitting, because I'm in a sitting position when I'm in my kayak. So when I get out, I'm still kind of in that position. So I'll foam roll out my legs and my butt, like my glutes, work that, like basically breaks down all that muscle. Like it'll hurt, if you get a good foam roller, it'll kind of hurt, like just rubbing all these muscles and just breaking up all that muscle tissue, because you get all this what is it called? It's an acid that builds up in your muscles, like when you're tearing muscles and you're working out and everybody gets sore afterwards. It's kind of like that, but your back and your butt's just sore. So I roll out my hamstrings, I roll out my glutes, and then I roll out my lower back. And dude, I'm telling you, the next day, it's really nice. And if you're getting up there like I'm up there, because I'm a little bit older than you, but not too far, dude, just start rolling it out, dude. I'm telling you,
I definitely have some lower back tightness and tension where it'll last like for weeks sometimes, where that's okay. I'll add that to the list of things to get, dude.
I can see you can get them on Amazon for pretty cheap, dude.
Yeah, I can see that really helping out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. It's just something, but yeah, I mean, you don't. Yeah, after this podcast, you don't have to do anything. I'm just saying it could help. And then for mental clarity, dude, what are we doing?
I mean, I don't know what I do different than a lot of other people. It's hard to say, but I feel like I do a lot that helps. Like I try to get up in the mornings, and I don't like reading, but I'll listen to my Bible app, and I listen to that, think about it, and I pray a little bit. I try to make myself do that every morning. I'm not great at it. I'm pretty lazy, but I try to do that every morning to kind of get started. And but like for me, like when I go out on the water, like I look back, I'm like, man, how do people that don't do this, what do they do? Because I am so relaxed and I block everything out. It's like once I push out, as long as it ain't like a horrible day where it's like wind's blowing you all around, making you aggravated or something like that. But usually a river float, like I love river floats because it's like I'm putting it here and I'm taking out at that destination. I don't care what happens in between, but I'm going. And nothing else matters. The world's gone. I'm here. I'm fishing. I'm watching things. I'm watching animals, listening to sounds, just listen to the water. Dude, like being on the water, especially flowing water, is so relaxing and rejuvenating. And I look forward to those so much. And it's just, I remember back when I first started, it was so amazing. Now I do them all the time. I've gotten used to it because I do so many. But every time I get out, first push out on the water, first push out away, it's like everything, whatever's going on just fades away. And I just do not care about anything else. So that I feel like that really, I think about it all the time. And I think that really helps me just not get bogged down or whatever. Because I can spend a couple of days working inside and online and doing this. And I'm just all like, I got to get out. And I go out and do that. And I'm just, nothing matters. It's really nice. I really enjoy working with the kids. And for me, that's like refreshing. And I know a lot of people like that's like they're having a panic attack and like what's going on. To me, I just unloose and just have fun. And it just, whenever I'm gone, like I miss a couple of Sundays or I miss a Sunday, I'm like, man, I've missed this. I get back to working with my kids from my church. You know, I know a lot of them, you know, from, and I've, you know, seen a lot of them grow up and stuff, but it's like, to me, that's just a big thing. It really helps me out.
Dude, that's awesome. So that's like the water's like your mental reset, and then with the kids, it's like an emotional reset. Like you just yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That's so cool. All right, I have one more question. I just recently added this because I thought it'd be really interesting. If you don't mind divulging, tell us one thing about yourself that nobody knows.
Ooh. What do I... There's a lot. I mean, on the internet, a lot of people don't know stuff. If it was like something like my family wouldn't know or something like that, something like nobody.
Yeah, something that nobody really knows. Like, I mean, you don't have to be like, I stole this candy bar in 3rd grade, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just something about you, like that would be an insight or window into you that nobody really knows.
Let's see here. I go out sometimes at night to the gas station to get drinks, like and snacks. I haven't done it in a while, but I'll have to go at like midnight. I'm just bored. I'm like, I'm going to the gas station to get a chocolate milk and a candy bar. But
that's awesome.
I'm taking my cousin lived with me, and we would do that every once in a while, so he knows that. But like that's nobody, like most random people, like they don't go out at night, and I'd be like, it'd be like midnight, like, dude, let's go. I just want to go get something. I just get bored at night or something.
Can you imagine somebody like, man, I was getting gas. I was getting ready to get out of town. We were leaving early, and I seen John at the gas station drinking a chocolate milk. Like,
I love a chocolate milk at night.
That's awesome.
That's so.
There you go. You love a chocolate milk at night.
Yeah. Boom. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The only people that know that are guys that stay with me on kayak trips, because I will I gotta stop getting chocolate milk. So,
oh, hang on, guys. We gotta stop here. That's awesome. Oh, dude, John. Okay, thank you. Let's plug you real quick. So, plug yourself. Let people know where they can find you. You know,
if
they want to get a hold of you.
If you search Creek Fishing Adventures, all over the place. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. There may be a TikTok channel out there. I don't run it. My buddy, I think, posts stuff. I have a buddy that is one of my best friends. Yeah, he lives back in Middle Tennessee, and he does some like a little bit of social media stuff for me, like helps post some things that I just don't want to do. But yeah, it's Creek Fishing Adventures. Yeah, you can follow or not, but I just love fishing, and I love exploring, and I have a fun time doing it, and I try to show that on videos.
Dude, and you do a great job of it. Dude, John, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you. We're going to talk when we get out of here, so I'm going to throw you in the green room for a minute. I know it's late for you, so I'll make it quick, but I'll go ahead and kick you out. So wave bye. Bye, everybody. All right. That was John Dalton of Creek Fishing Adventures, everybody. You guys heard the plugs. Go check out his channel. Hit the submit. I guarantee you will not, or subscribe, excuse me, not submit. That's a weird thing to say. But you will not regret it. I swear. It is some of the funnest stuff to watch, man. It really just brings me back to what fishing's all about. So with that, I appreciate y'all listening, and I hope to see you guys again real soon. And until then,
what's up, everybody? Wolf from Walmart. We're back, baby, again.
Not a bad fish right there, guys. Oh, no.
Out here catching Folsom bass right now, dude. Woo, he's a little chunker.